Well, hey, welcome to the show before the show, where I check to make sure everything is working. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, your local game guy, and I'm joined by co-host Will. Hey, Will.
Up.
How are you?
I'm good. Slow work week, but glad to be back into the
Oh,
swing of things and doing magic stuff.
sounds like a great problem.
I know.
Did I miss anything while I was gone?
Yes, you missed a good deal. We have all of Fallout spoiled, and we got 4 sets that got spoilers. So we're gonna have a lot to cover over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, so if you guys don't know, we're MTG ambassadors here on the channel, and we should be talking in Q3 on some of that upcoming product. I forget what that starts with, though. I need to look at the roadmap because there's so
I
much.
think Thunder Junction is next, but I'll
Right,
have to check
but
that.
did we not get? You were telling me about a card from Thunder Junction,
Uh,
Hell to
I
Pay, but
think
how much have we been spoiled?
we got, I think, somewhere around 6 to 8 cards from Thunder Junction, something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, about 6 cards it looks like from Thunder Junction. We got a Oko, Fibblethip, Tiny Bones, Hell to Pay, Duelist, and then there's something else. Oh, Thoughtseize. We got a
Nice.
Thoughtseize reprint and a new card called
Thunder
Crime to
Junction.
Punishment.
Oh, is that where the
Or Crime
keyword?
or
Is that where the
Punishment.
new keyword comes into play?
No, no, no. The crime or punishment has nothing to do with it. Funnily enough, because crime targets your own things in your graveyard and reanimates
Wait,
them.
Will, what is the card that has that new keyword?
Oko. Oko
Oh,
has the
it's
new
on the.
keyword crime, which means if you target your opponent, any of their zones or any of their permanents or any of their cards, I believe. I think counterspell counts as a crime as well. So, for those who don't know, we
Oko
got a
the
new keyword.
ringleader. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a new keyword from the set, and it's crime. And if you committed a crime this turn, do blank or something like that. So a crime is considered
That's
targeting your
amazing.
opponents, their spells, their permanents, their library, or their graveyard, or any of the cards in their library or their graveyard. So, a fun new keyword.
Fun. Yes. Fun being the
all I
operative
got,
word there.
all I gotta say is, blue's the most criminal color.
And apparently crime does pay.
Yeah, apparently.
At any rate, guys, if you haven't caught up recently with the Fallout releases, well, today we'll be doing a mini review, our own guide, an unofficial guide of the legendaries from the recent Fallout set, right? So this is going to be our tier list guide. As we normally do, I believe I've left in the description our actual tier system, and I can go over that briefly with you all. But the point of doing these live is that we can have a discussion with you on what our selections are, and maybe you can sway us one way or another, or help us out in determining where some of our legendaries that can be made a commander should fall on our tier list. And we're looking at this from the perspective of cEDH players. So do bear that in mind. We do have a category for casual legendaries for the command zone, so, don't worry, we're not going to leave you out. But just to go over it briefly, the tiers you're going to see in a second are S for cEDH playable. It's just going to be good. A, competitively viable. B is situationally viable. List that could probably operate in a cEDH setting, but will require work, right? That falls into the B list. I'd say A is more practically playable. What's a good example of like a competitively viable? I would say like Oswald's an A, whereas something like a Tivit is an S. It's just going to be more consistent.
I feel like that's doing Oswald dirty, but if you want to go that way, sure.
Well, I mean, when I pilot it, it's an S, people, trust me. And also, if I sound weird, I'm sorry. It's because I'm coming off of an illness, so that's
Everybody
why.
I know is sick. I don't know why, but literally every person that I talk to through web or through Discord has come down with something, and
Is
it's
it you,
always
Bill?
runny nose, sore throat, headaches, and then like loss of voice.
Oh, just severe.
Everybody,
Just severe
everybody.
headache. Just severe headache for me, sir. That's where it stopped, thank God. C for casually playable, and then D for don't. That doesn't mean the card is necessarily bad, right? We might even have like a 5-color commander that we'll say is technically a D, because there are just better things to do in that space, right? That space is very like hotly contested for 5 colors. Even 4 colors.
It'd be hard for 5 or 4 colors to make D, though, because they at least do something.
Right. So mind you, that was just an example, but there are a lot of really interesting legendaries from the set. I believe we have 52 in total, so there's a lot to cover. I'm going to try to do this with you all in under 2 hours, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, how are you guys doing? Let me know if you're alive in the chat. Let me know if you're excited for Star Wars Unlimited this weekend. I am. Kind of am, Will. I told you I'm getting into this, right?
Yeah, you told me about it.
Nibru's got it. Seaborn Muses Man. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
And
yes.
I stand by that.
Sup, Pat? Not much.
Yeah, every time we've had Seaborn Muse enter the battlefield on the channel, I think it's done a whole lot of nothing.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, I think you played Seaborn Muse once with Kennen, and it gave you like 1 more activation, and that didn't change anything.
I feel like I would have discarded it to some effect instead.
I know.
Sup, Will, says Nibru. Yeah, so I was gone for a week. I was visiting family in Virginia. I played some One Piece in Virginia. Did well. Did I send you my winning card? I put it in the Discord. I actually won of like a group of 30 people. It was very exciting. I don't know how many actually showed up, but I think that's how many registered. But the games were so fun. And then like halfway through the visit, I just get really sick. And so now me and my wife are both ill. But I have to, it's like back to the grindstone Monday, which I'm not excited about. So I'm gonna enjoy myself this week/weekend. Star Wars Unlimited pre-release on Saturday. There's only like one place in the city area, dude, that's hosting any form of pre-release. It's kind of crazy. And you'd expect for the property as big as Star Wars that there'd be more attention on it, but I played it though. Let me just start by saying I'm a fan of Fantasy Flight games. So I actually have a deck builder that a friend recently got us for, like, it's like a wedding gift, and it's really good. And as soon as I heard that that they were going to be producing this TCG, and there's a lot of similarities between it and the deck builder. Oh, it's so good, dude. Maybe we talk about it on the channel in the future. But for now, I think we're officially good to start. Is there anything you want to get off your chest before we begin this one, Will?
One thing I want to say, because I forgot to say it on the previous gaming chat, and I at least want to bring it up before we do like a whole nother week of waiting for me to say this.
Oh, God.
Raga Draga won a tournament.
Did you not?
I have not said it yet. And I keep forgetting to say it. I keep saying it to you before the streams, but I keep forgetting to bring it up after this, like on the streams. Raga Draga won a CEDH tournament. I don't know how big of a tournament it was, but I know that my friend who I recommended Pan Glacial Worm to in the deck gave that deck to a friend who took it to a Discord spell table tournament and won. So
how much is Pan Glacial Worm now?
I don't know. I don't think it's changed in value at all.
Yeah, I'm curious though. No,
yeah, it's still like $2.50.
$2. Yeah. Get that foil while you can. Cold snap foils are cool.
I'm just happy that deck won.
No, dude, I'm happy for you.
Bragging rights, let's go.
Next stream tomorrow. By the way, if you're here, you're obviously the dedicated few. If you want to do a deck tech tomorrow, let me know which legendaries from the set you're most interested in. I know we have our short list. Me personally, I think Nick Valentine seems probably just the most interesting, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Nick is cool. You find KCI, you get any of the things that recur artifacts, and then you have a fun time while making a bunch of clues. James is pretty cool too, just because if you get enough mana and you have a mana filter effect like a refractor, or I think it's a refractor, and then a KCI, you make infinite clues to draw your deck, win the game.
Yeah.
Oof. But that's talking about legendary creatures from the set, so yeah, why don't we get into it?
Yes, 100%. Again, we're going to open up some MKM tomorrow, though, regardless, so hang tight for that. I mean, Will and I, this is our bounty. We're ready to open it. I think
we didn't even know we were getting that.
No, I'm excited for the Fallout Wizards. Thank you. Send it whenever. I'll be around. But guys, welcome to Local Game Group. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, your local game guy. joined by co-host Will. And
Sup?
today we will be ranking all of the legendaries from Fallout Universes Beyond. Where can you get your legendaries? From the link in the description over at TCG Player. Or you know what? Hook up Papa Hasbro by buying it off Wizard's site. I don't really care. But it does go a long way if you're to buy your singles from the link in the description, whether it be Star Wars Unlimited, Pokemon, Digimon, Magic maybe. I appreciate it.
Doing sorcery dirty, Patrick? Come on.
Or sorcery. I wasn't going to say it though, because I noticed that there's been like a series of buyouts in that game and the prices are kind of going up. Wait for those to teeter down or availability to become open on product. Same thing with One Piece. You might have noticed I think prices were weird on sorcery. I need to buy a few more cards though. Ooh. Last note. This has nothing to do with Magic, but I'll actually be hosting a sorcery tournament in Texas called March of the Mortals, co-hosting it with our friend of the channel, Drew. So hang tight for that. It's going to be a live stream event, and they did, at Reaper Games in Texas, they did an amazing job setting up the stream. Will, you might want to actually tune in. It's like whether you follow sorcery or not, it's set up really well. The gameplay is going to be really tight, and of course you're going to get some amazing hosting with myself and Drew. So I'm super excited for that. Also, if you happen to be in Texas for the event, shout out. I'll bring a few decks so that we can play. I'll be there like the day before so we can play. But no, you're right. Sorcery should pop up on Saturday again. I hear you guys telling me about it, so I do want to talk about it. However, we are on Lomo. This is like a tier list system that's online. Afterwards, we will share the image of our list for you guys. So if you can't stay for the whole thing, that's fine. But the best part of this, in my opinion, is the conversation. So if you are here, feel free to speak up when we get it wrong. Or if we get it right, just back us up. We really appreciate it. But we're going to go through these in Wooberg order. And again, there are a ton. We usually, historically, we run pretty long when it comes to these tier lists, but we're going to try to narrow it down today. Let's see if we can do that. I'm here, Alberto. I'm here too. Himates. Okay, well, we've got the founder to start with. Aradesh the founder. Do you want me to just read through all these and we can go from there?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, we've however long we've been doing this, we've not come down with a formula that we is standard, but that's fine.
If you want, I can do the readings and you can give your first opinion and then I'll give my opinion after. Because I know I like crushing down the text because I've read all these like 8 times over.
Let's try that.
All right. So this first commander is a 3-mana 1/4 with Enlist. And whenever a creature you control attacks, if it enlisted a creature this combat, the creature that attacked gains double strike at the end of the turn, or until the end of the turn. Holy crap, stumbling over it like a madman when I'm like, oh yeah, let me do it. The creature gains double strike until the end of the turn, and then if that creature has 4 more power, draw a card. So, what do you think, Patrick?
If it enlisted a creature this combat, as this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control when you do. It's fine.
Yeah, when a creature enlists, it gains double strike as well. If it has 4 or more power, draw a card. You want to know the bottleneck?
What?
4 enlist creatures in existence in white outside of this commander. You're never using it. You're drawing 1 card a turn more likely than not, just off of the commander attacking, which is nice, and white doesn't have a ton of draw. But you'd rather just play Tymna plus anything.
Right. This is kind of clunky. It's a 1/4/2. So do you really want this as an attacker? I guess you're expecting it to not die, at least on the swing. You may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness. Without summoning sickness? It feels bad.
I will say, commander damage is pretty good on this, because if you tap any moderately sized creature, this gets double strike, and then you can just one-shot somebody. But you need a big creature to do that.
I honestly feel like this could have operated along the same way as, like, say, a crew. Like, you can crew with creatures that have just entered the battlefield. I don't see why you couldn't enlist. It's not like they themselves are I don't know. I mean, conceptually, I get it. I feel like maybe it's a little too cheesy to be able to use summoning sick creatures, but it does kind of hamper the effectiveness of this.
Yeah, I'd say it's good for casual because it's a good Voltron commander in general. It's a 3 mana legendary creature with double strike if you have any other commander or any other creature. Because if you Voltron this up, it gets to over 4 power by itself. Tap freaking Memnite, and then it has double strike and you draw a card.
That is kind of sick, at least. That is kind of cool. Yeah, I would say it's casually playable, but I don't think I don't disagree with you either, Nibiru. That it's probably just a D for the most part, because even casual players would want to do something else. But you could definitely make this work. It is kind of weird that the amount of enlisters are that small. Yeah. This feels like a new keyword. I'm sorry. Is it from Fallout?
It's not from Fallout, but it's a relatively new keyword. The only other set that used it, I think, was Dominaria. It was Dominaria United.
Okay. General, casual. Yeah, I'm ready for Codsworth. Here, Redemption, Will.
Yeah. Codsworth, Handy Helper. A 3-mana 2/3 that says your commanders have Ward 2. Tap, make 2 white. Spend this mana to cast artifacts or equipment. Or sorry, cast auras or equipment. Holy crap, I'm still tripping over literally everything. Tap, attach an aura or equipment you control to a creature you control. Activate as a sorcery.
Wham, wham. Here's what's cool. If you were to take control of an opposing commander, you would be controlling a commander. So like the Tymna you take has Ward 2. The issue is that most of that stuff is in red. So you're not going to get much of it here. I think conceptually Codsworth Handy Helper is maybe someone you should consider in the 99 of a list, but it needs to very specifically care about auras and equipments. And really, as a ramp piece for that in protection for your commanders, it's not bad. So I'm really looking at that third line of text, that second ability, as like an added bonus. It lets you rethink your earlier plays, right? So even if you did place an aura on something because like, it was the only thing out there, I needed to get it down, I think that it's fine that it only operates at sorcery, but that does neuter it as a potential trick, right? So it's still fine as a 2/3 that costs 2 generic and a white. You'll notice that there seems to be a trend in this set. There's a lot of 2 generic / pip cards in this set, which is nice. A lot of these are very castable. I like Codsworth Handy Helper a lot. I kind of wish he had Partner. I know that's maybe asking a lot, but if he had Partner, my god, he'd be so cool. As it stands, it's fine.
There's no way this card gets Partner because it's a half and half between Arden and then that one freaking bird. There's right. the 2-mana owl that says your commanders have like Ward 1.
Ooh, that'd be so good. Oh my god. But if it's a rare, Will, it only makes sense. And he's 3 CMC. I don't think as a commander this is my favorite. How do you feel? It itself does have Ward 2, mind you.
This is a D. It's a worse Voltron commander in every aspect of the word. You can't use the mana to pay for equip cost, and you can tap it to equip equipment, but the issue is you tap it to equip one equipment, compared to Arden, which has Partner and equips all equipment onto one thing.
Right. Well, I mean, again, like that's where my interest sort of wanes on this. Like, if it was something that if it was able to do this at instant speed, it would be more useful. That lower effect, but I don't know. You say D. I think I'm happy with D. We're kind of exclusively looking at these as commanders. I know last set we talked about another white card named Delny. I think it deserved special mention for the 99, but I don't think
it was a casual for as a commander, but then was like S tier in the 99 is what we agreed on. Because if you have a deck that wants to run it,
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like I was saying, I feel like that last effect is a bonus, Mateus, but it does a lot for 3 mana. I mean, it's definitely pushed.
Oh,
Yeah.
it goes in the 99 of some decks.
Right,
Not
right.
going to argue that.
I'm
The
wondering,
Ward 2 to protect your commanders is just really nice.
the fox, what's the fox's name? I know we have a Discordian that
Oh,
really...
the companion?
No. There's that
Zerto?
Light Paws that
Oh,
cares about the aura.
yeah.
It's
Light
kind
Paws
of...
is really cool with this because you get to move around your auras. So
Yeah.
you get an aura, put it onto Light Paws, tap this, and move it to something else.
But the ward is sick too because you want to keep Light Paws around, so any sort of deterrent is going to be nice. I think 2 is like an acceptable limit. If it said ward 3, then just forget about it. At any rate, moving on.
Okay, and I'm not going to mess up this time.
No.
Commander Sophia. 3 and white for a 1/3 flash commander with ETB, destroy target legendary permanent. That permanent's controller creates a junk token. What are your thoughts, Patrick?
Say goodbye to your commander.
Yeah.
Legendary permanent, mind you. So this does have a wider range of targets. You know, at 4 CMC in the CZ for this effect, I mean, technically, it's not great. If you made infinite mana, and had this ETB and destroy itself and make infinite junk tokens, then yes, you could sacrifice impulse. Junk is like a impulse draw. You can impulse draw your list and then play out your win, which is likely a walking ballista. I mean, it's not like you can't do things with Sophia de Guerre, but I think there are probably better options for outlets in the command zone, and this one's really not my favorite. The fact that it has flash is kind of cool, right? But I feel like this... Yeah, I don't know. If it was too generic and a white, maybe it would be too good. But I feel like it's just fine. I don't know. Where you stand on this one, Will? Also, you're making artifacts too, so that could play a part in this combo. Maybe there's some crazy KCI thing I'm missing.
Yeah, the original Megara is just kind of a better version of this in most situations. So, one, Sophia has flash, Megara doesn't, but Megara costs 1 less, so he's entering a turn earlier, so it doesn't really matter. Also, Megara has tap, whereas Sophia's ETB do a thing and then sticks on the board, and Megara exiles himself and then another permanent. But the thing is, any flicker effect, any untap effect, you can multiply up the Megara effect to just hit more and more and more things. If you want to remove things, Megara is better. If you want to use an infinite mana outlet, Sophia is better. But the thing is, you probably don't want to use an infinite mana outlet with Sophia because you're in white. You don't have great ways of making infinite white mana.
Oh, I'm sorry. I never moved Codsworth to his rightful place. We said D for Codsworth, right? I'm kind of happy to go just...
He's a D for Commander. He's probably like a B or an A for the 99. But he's D for Commander.
Sophia. All right. Yeah, I'm fine with that. But the Overseer of the Vault, Will, you want to tell us about this magical card, too generic, in a white?
Sure. As long as you've already moved Sophia to the D tier where she belongs, then
D for de Guerre, or however you pronounce that last name.
Well, the Overseer is a 3 mana 3/3 in white that says whenever this creature or another creature with 3 or less power enters the battlefield under your control, put a quest counter on this. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may remove 3 quest counters from among permanents you control, and when you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, and they gain vigilance until end of turn. Thoughts?
Vigilance till end of turn? You couldn't even just give it a vigilance counter?
You don't want to stack those vigilance counters.
Oh, heaven forbid.
Double vigilance. What do we do now?
You can't tap me. Stop. Overseer of the Vault. C for Commander, come on Sophia de Guerre. C for... Oh, you want the Commander Sophia de Guerre to be a C for Commander? We can maybe move it. I need a little bit more convincing than that, though. Overseer of the Vault, however, is a D.
Yeah.
Look, the reason that this ranks higher... Sorry. The reason the Founder ranked higher is it does say draw, it does say double attack, and it's not like it's that demanding. This feels demanding.
Yeah, I will say in the 99, this is a really good card because if you have any deck that cares about counters in any way, shape, or form, this gets those counters. You're buffing your entire board, giving stuff vigilance, and moving counters to everything that wants them. It's good in the 99 for casual decks. There's maybe one cEDH deck that may play it at some point in some time. It's very fun in Nagila because you get 2 billion quest counters on this, but that doesn't matter because you can only pay 3 at a time. But yeah, it's a thing.
At the beginning of combat on your turn, well, you pay 3 at a time, Will, but you'll get to do that repeatedly with infinite combats.
Yeah, but it's almost like if you have infinite combats, you already have infinite warriors in Nagila.
Yeah.
There's one commander that I think will actually run this in the 99 for cEDH, and it's Tyam, because whenever a creature enters the battlefield, this gets a counter, and you can remove 3 counters to put a counter on each of your things. And Tyam wants you to remove 3 counters from things you control to reanimate something. So this gets counters for Tyam relatively easily. As a commander, you're never playing this.
I've already moved on, Will. We're done. We're done with that card. No more. Oh, well, yeah, again, before we end White, feel free to convince me on Commander, Sophia.
Well, we do have a Paladin Dan's Steel Maverick. 3 mana, 3/3, Vigilance Lifelink, Synth Knight, Artifact, so you can do those artifact shenanigans. Exile Dan's, each creature you control that's an artifact or human gains indestructible until end of turn.
I mean, I don't know. Could you use this in Tashar? I mean, I'm just looking at the fact that it's an artifact.
No, you have to exile this to use its effect.
Yeah, it's kind of weak. If it was sacrifice, it would be kind of cool.
Oh, 100%. It'd be great if this was sacrifice.
The Synth Knight gets a D for dance.
Yeah.
Sorry to put you down there, boy. I love the art on this next one, though.
Yeah, we got a Sierra, Nuka-Cola's biggest fan. 3 and a white for a human citizen, not an artifact.
I think that's Took, technically. I think Took is Nuka-Cola's
Yeah, I think Took is Nuka-Cola's biggest fan. You're 100% right. This just
close.
needs that Peregrine Took's text box right there.
Right.
But whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, put a quest counter on Sierra, and then create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food token, target creature you control gains +X until end of turn, where X is the number of quest counters on Sierra. I wish this didn't say 1 or more. Then Sierra would scale really quickly, and then you could get a lot of dumb stuff happening. As it stands, you can still do fun stuff, because you get some food any other way in white, and then every time you sacrifice a food to KCI or any artifact sac effect, you give a creature you control +1/+1 or +2/+2. It's fun.
Does this go into the fun C slot?
I think it can go into C because you can just move to combat, swing, and then go, oh, by the way, you know how I have an Arcbound Ravager? Yeah, I'll sacrifice 8 clues to give my commander +24/+24 instant speed. You're dead.
I hope they don't make that mistake. But honestly, props to this artist, Anna. Best art from the set, in my book. I think this one looks so good.
You're not going to say that our next man, Yes Man, is the best art in the entire set?
No, sorry.
The robot
yes,
going.
I will say, though, it is probably the best mono white card from the set. Well, I've got lots of ideas.
Let's see, because we're about to grade it. Yes Man, Professional Securitron. 2 and a white for a legendary artifact creature robot. 2 power, 2 toughness, tap. Target opponent gains control of Yes Man. When they do, you draw 2 cards and put a quest counter on Yes Man. Activate only during your turn. When Yes Man leaves the battlefield, its owner creates a tapped 1/1 human soldier token for every quest counter on it. So, I do have to retract some things that I said earlier about the card in the Discord, but you may go to give your opinion first, Patrick.
Yeah, so you give this to someone when they do gain control of it.
I did not realize the when they do part, because my initial thought was you can sack it to KCI before donating it. Nope, you draw after you donate it, and
Yeah.
only if you donate it.
Yeah, it's awkwardly worded, but there are still things you can do with it. But when they do, you draw 2 cards and put a quest counter on Yes Man, activate only during your turn. So this is almost like Wishclaw Talisman. I know a lot of people think that it only works at sorcery speed, but the fact is it works at instant. It's just only applicable on your turn and at any point during your turn. So at any point during your turn, you could do this. When it leaves the battlefield, you create soldiers based off the quest counters. Generally going to be 1. Generally going to be 1. Why is that? You can kind of do a mono white storm thing here with all of the flicker effects that exist and or untap effects. The issue is, if you were to put it on the stack, let's just do a voltaic key in our head because this is an artifact, right? So you tap it to give target player this creature, and then you use your voltaic key to untap it, tap it again, and then you pass it to that person. It will effectively draw you 4 cards in this exchange, right? So
Yep.
you can use this with any sort of untap artifact shenanigan as well. So there are plenty of ways you could storm through your deck with Yes Man. It's just very tricky in kind of a delicate situation that requires very specific cards. I personally love building decks that require very specific cards and play a very specific strategy. I think that this is a B. I don't think it's an A. I don't think it's an S. Do you think that this is cEDH playable, but on the lowest end?
Yeah, I 100% agree to that, because if you want to be able to reuse Yes Man every turn, you either need to kill your own Yes Man and replay it, which you're probably not doing, or more likely, you are going to either flicker your Yes Man or steal him back with Homeward Path.
Right, that was just mentioned in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been the one card everyone's been freaking out about, because they're like, oh, Weather Wayfarer, you can get him back.
Do you remember how expensive Homeward Path was for a while, just because of like the prominence of Gilded Drake? I remember it was such a issue that people used to mainline it, and this just shows you how relevant blue was for so long, but Homeward Path was mainlineable land. Give yourself a colorless land just to recover a thing. Fortunately, people have sort of eased up on using Gilded Drakes, but just because you're not getting draked doesn't mean you wouldn't want to know the way home. I think that Homeward Path can certainly, like, that's a really great utility for this in case you need to F6, right? Or is that it, when you need to pull out of the situation? Because if you don't draw into your flicker effect, or you just didn't have it in hand already, you're kind of taking a gamble on Yes Man. It is kind of a group hug card in that sense if you fail. So I probably wouldn't recommend keeping a hand that didn't have an out for you. But you could very easily turn 1 this and start doing funny things the very next turn.
He's mana crippable.
Mana crippable. I love it. I love this card. I would love to build this deck. I think that this deck could just be extremely fun. And you probably run the 1 ring in it, and you probably do kind of the same things that Oswald would care to do, but with less accuracy. It's interesting because it's almost the opposite kind of strategy to Oswald, where Oswald is like sort of pinpointing out the cards necessary to get to the ring and then leverage the ring. You kind of have the ring in the CZ, and you're just looking to pull cards to let you play with it more.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, well, our next card is Curie. 1 in the blue for a 1/3 legendary artifact creature robot. Whenever Curie deals combat damage to a player, draw equal to its base power. 2 in a blue. Exile another non-token artifact creature you control. Curie becomes a copy of the exiled creature, except it has the previous text box. So, there's some fun things to do. What do you think about it, Patrick?
Sorry, can you guys hear like the banging on my walls?
I cannot, so I don't think anybody else can, but I could be wrong. Hold on, give me a second. I'll check.
No, it's okay. So long as you're not hearing anything. That's good value. Deals combat damage to a player, draw cards equal to its base power. Base power. So no amount of trickery will help this? Am I reading this wrong?
Well, its second effect makes it a copy of another creature, but it keeps this text box of draw equal to base power. So whatever it becomes a copy of then draws equal to the base power.
Right, so there's some shenanigans you can do here. There are plenty of very powerful artifact creatures if Savala has taught us anything. There are very powerful, generically costed creatures out there. I think you might have mentioned one. Oh, yeah. You can bring it up.
Yeah, so what is it called? The not Phyrexian Devourer, Phyrexian Dreadnought.
Yeah,
So
Devourer
the 1 mana 12/12.
12.
Yeah, the 1 mana 12/12 that ETB either sacks itself or sacks 12 power worth of stuff. ETB, exile it. I have a 12/12 commander that draws 12 cards when it connects.
I mean, I like it. I think it's kind of cool. I don't know how competitive this will be, but it should allow you to draw a couple cards in a game. Mind you, at base level, it's not really doing too much. It does require you have another non-token artifact creature out. So it is very demanding on how you build your list, much like Yes Man, but not to the same effect. They're both kind of draw engines, but I think Yes Man has easier support cards that double, like, a flicker effect is not ever bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, just having an ephemerate isn't bad, but having to run big dumb artifact creatures just to exile them does feel bad. So I would say that this is maybe fun C category to D.
I will say that it is an A, and I can tell you why.
Oh, is there a combo for this?
It's not a combo, but what is the main weakness of blue that people always overlook?
Oh,
it surprisingly does not have a lot of good draw.
Yeah.
The issue with blue control decks is they can't keep their hands full to be able to kind of combo off. Curie, however, is a 2-mana commander that will draw you a card on turn 2 if you play it on turn 1, so it'll automatically get you at least 1 card per turn. And if you exile any artifact creature with even 3 or more power, you're refilling half a hand every single turn from here on out. And you're keeping that creature on board more or less because you're keeping everything on that creature's text box. Curie's just adding in another thing and removing itself. Yeah. So Curie's just kind of there to draw extra cards every single combat, and all you have to do is run some extra artifact creatures. And you have other things you can do, like a Kappa Cannoneer, which is just going to be a 4/4 ward that you can usually play for pretty cheap, and then it has ward 4, so you'd have a Curie with 4 power and ward 4. Stuff like that. That's just a kind of dumb thing that you can cheat in. One of the dumbest things that you can get off of this, though, is Psychosis Crawler. 5 mana star. Its base power and toughness is equal to the cards in your hand. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. If you turn Curie into this and have any amount of extra cards in your hand, let's say 10 cards, swing, draw 10, deal 10 to each opponent, you have 20 cards in hand. People are going to be dying.
It's exiling it. You do that for the turn, Curie?
Nope, it is that creature for as long as Curie remains on the battlefield.
All right, well, go ahead and make it. Prove to me. It's an A. It's an A or a B in my opinion. I'm willing to say that it's an A like Yes Man, because it feels a lot like I said
Arkham.
B. I said B for Yes Man.
Oh, you said B so A or B like Yes Man.
Okay.
So I'm saying like one or the other. If you want to put it on B, I'm fine with putting it on B. But I feel like it doesn't have much build around, because even just as a commander, and then you put in like 2 artifact creatures or 3 extra artifact creatures with big dumb power, there's some incidental artifact creatures that are fine. Drawing 1 extra card per turn is pretty fine.
Yeah, there's some good suggestions being thrown out there by Nibiru, but I was just joking about attaching like Ensoul Artifact to Isochron Scepter or something and just getting the effect every turn.
That was another thing, because there's so many effects that just say change creature's base power toughness into a bit higher than what it should be.
Yeah,
that you can easily use.
This one's kind of cool. The Behind the Mask. Until end of turn, target artifact or creature becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 4/3. If evidence was collected, it has base power and toughness 1/1 until end of turn.
You can collect the evidence to make your Curie weaker.
Right, but like as a general buff effect, it's kind of cool. Do you think the collector booster is worth buying? For Fallout, I haven't really looked into the cards, but I would say no. I would look into just buying singles from it. I mean, your odds of getting the thing you want foiled, though, Vegito, are much higher. So it really is... I don't know, man. I love buying into card games and opening packs like anyone else. So for me, it's usually worth it. Like, I just bought a bunch of Star Wars Unlimited, and I don't even know if the game's going to be good. I just like opening packs. But I do this with every game, so I'm not the right person to ask. Generally, though, I would recommend you buy singles. Perhaps the link in the description. But I kind of like this card a little bit more now. I could agree with it being in B territory. I still don't think I would put Oswald at A. I would put your Arkham Daxon at A. I don't know if either of these two really compete on that level, though.
I think Curie is a little bit better than Arkham just because of the speed. Arkham has to come out for 4 mana. Curie is coming out turn 1 every single game, and then you just have card draw in blue.
I want to see it. I definitely want to see it. I want to see it.
I will say I feel like my Arkham is closer to B than Curie is, but Curie I'd say is probably better than my Arkham.
Really?
Yeah. But moving on to the next card.
Yeah.
So we have a Jace, Wandering Dad.
Jace.
There's Jace. Why James? James, Wandering Dad.
That's the secret lair
Oh
version
my gosh,
later.
yeah.
Don't worry, that's the universes within. He's been all around the block. That man's got so many kids and so many planes he didn't even know about.
I was thinking about the frickin' Jace Fox art that got spoiled from the Bramblewood thing, so that's what got me confused. But James, Wandering Dad. 2 and a blue for a 2/4 legendary creature human scientist. And he has tap, add 2 colorless, spend this mana only to activate abilities. Man, that seems like a really bad card. Well, hold on. Adventure. X blue for an instant. Investigate X times. Man, but hold on, that doesn't sound too good. Is there anything that we can do with that, Patrick?
What do you mean? Outside of just doing it and following him a million times, this creepy ass stalker? What are you talking about? You're just saying it's an infinite mana outlet, right? So the fact of the matter is, you're making artifacts when you investigate. You're making clues, and does this work just directly with KCI, provided you're able to produce?
If you can filter, if you can filter into blue, or have a way of making mana not matter, like a chromatic Ori,
could you have like Urza out?
Urza would work.
Urza would KCI.
Work. Urza, KCI, or any of the refractors, the mana refractors that say pay 2, make a mana of any color. What happens is, if you pay enough mana into James, let's say you have, I think, 6 clues. Sack all 6 clues and then cast James. So 12. I'll start this loop with the mana. Pay 12 mana, change 2 of it into blue. Then you have 8 mana remaining with 2 blue, and you pay it into James to make 8 clues. Sacrifice the 8 clues for 16 mana. Pay 2 of it for blue, going down to 12. 2 of it for commander tax, going down to 10. Pay 10 to make 20 clues. Repeat. You now have infinite mana of blue and colorless, and infinite clues. Draw your deck, win the game. James goes infinite with KCI, a mana refractor effect, and then anything that, and any amount of mana that lets you start off the loop. The issue is getting to that level of mana, but you can get there.
Mm-hmm. I like these variations on the "just do it" line from Nike coming from Chad Nibru's. Just fierce it. I would say just force it. Just force it with a upside down Nike logo. That's what Mono Blue's slogan should be. Just force it.
Force it.
I think it's easier to find the refractors in the KCI because we have artifact tutors. So I think in Mono Blue, it's a viable strategy. It is, though, as Will was saying, a few things to get the setup going. And mind you, you'll need the mana to get it off. So how much are we looking at baseline for like the lowest combos?
To 12 mana is the minimum, I believe, to enter it, but that's 12 mana in the refractor. It's either 12 mana or 8 and 2 blue. Whatever you can get to easier.
You know, we could say this is a B as well.
Yeah,
I don't like it as much as Curie.
Yeah, it's probably the lowest B there is that we're gonna have in this set.
So the lowest of the Bs,
Yeah.
James. But you're
We're,
still a B
we're
ranked dad, okay?
yeah, we're about to have two other blue commanders in a second that both make B tier higher than James, but in
Oh,
this next one is definitely not one of the ones I'm talking about, though.
Bro Boy seems better. Which Bro Boy? Urza? Urza is a better mana dump? Sure. Of course.
True. The thing is, Urza doesn't go infinite with KCI plus something small, but
Yeah,
James does.
so
But
eat that,
the
Urza.
other issue with James is you have to do nothing in the command zone for the longest time, or
Yeah.
just use James to pump out clues. Granted, if you play James, you can do the whole loop, but this time you need 14 mana or 10 and 2 blue instead. But you just made a bunch of clues, so you probably got to 10 mana.
Right.
So James can help set up the combo a bit easier by himself, because if you just hold up mana, then go, oh, on your end step, I'll make 3 clues.
Right. As it is instant.
Yeah, then that gets you there.
Yeah. That's true. If
But
you're ready for the KCI.
our next commander, Jason Bright, Glowing Prophet, 2 and a blue for a legendary creature, zombie mutant advisor with 2 power and 3 toughness. Whenever a zombie or a mutant you control dies, if its power was different from its base power, draw a card. Then you can pay 2 mana, sacrifice a creature you control, and put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and it gains flying until the end of the turn. Theoretically, this could go infinite with a very, very weird setup, but it's like a 5-card combo.
D.
E. Maybe C, but probably D.
No, I just want to go to Nick Valentine, Will.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is maybe like the second best art from the set, but also in a very playable card.
Yeah. Do you want to read it, Patrick? Because I know you like this boy a
2
lot.
generic and a blue for a synth detective, 2/2 body, Nick Valentine, private eye, can't be blocked except by artifact creatures. That's right. Eat Nick. Whenever Nick Valentine or another artifact creature you control dies, you may investigate. So there are lines of play that you could do with KCI again that involve artifact creatures. One being Mer Retriever, probably the most popular, but you've heard of Scrap Trawler as well, and Junk Diver, and all variations of these artifact creatures that die and bring things back from the grave. So, provided they're artifact creatures that are dying, you get the benefit of this. And they could even be token creatures to help you get the ball rolling on this KCI thing, right? If you just have to make token, like, I don't know, you're making Thopters for whatever reason, servos for whatever reason, they'll also let you investigate and create clues. But KCI is going to be your best friend here. You're essentially just going to go infinite with KCI. Let's go ahead and say the way you need to do this would be I'm going to crack a clue and I'm going to pay 2 and sacrifice it to do that. When you're doing that, you're able to pay for this with mana abilities in excess of its cost. So if KCI is out, I'll use KCI to eat the Mer Retriever and the Junk Diver simultaneously, right? And I'll sacrifice a clue, I'll draw a card. They'll see each other in the graveyard. It's at this point where you select targets. So now they're both in the graveyard. They both get to see each other. You bring them both to hand. And you made 2 clues while drawing a card, right? You sacrifice 2 and 2 to make 4. We are just shy of making this happen with this setup.
The thing is, though, that you can just sacrifice 1 for 2 mana for the sake of doing it, and then recur anything, then sacrifice the other, recurring that one. So you can do it the slow, clunky way, and you can't do fancy protection, because if you're doing it the way Patrick said, you can theoretically do that loop without having creature removal be able to stop you. Doing it the slow, clunky way does get there, but you're susceptible to creature removal.
Right. There isn't another 2-cost Mer Retriever. If you have cost reduction, it'll work. What was the... I feel like I found a line that was clean that only involved Nick and
theoretically you could
Mer.
do Scrap Trawler as well. Scrap Trawler kind of does the exact same thing as well with any other artifact in play.
Right. So for any sort of basic KCI line, all Nick is really going to do is help you ease it, or just remove 1 artifact from the equation in doing so, because it is generating an artifact for you to sack for 2. But ultimately, once you've made infinite mana, you just run any line of play that's going to get you an artifact creature from the grave repeatedly to make infinite clues to draw your deck.
Which is why he's so smooth. I think he's one of the best KCI commanders we've had in a while, because we had the Orzhov commander that got printed that I kind of liked. But my issues were, one, you could only really rely on your black tutors to find all the pieces, and two, you didn't immediately win the game with infinite mana off of doing the KCI lines. You do with Nick, though.
I like Nick a lot. Like, any excuse to play this guy, he just looks so freaking cool.
Yeah. I think he's high end of B. I don't think he makes it to A, because I think that KCI is a little bit too gimmicky in general, but
yeah,
he's really good.
I would say high end of B. I would say B. B.
Right.
If we're going to rank these, I'll put Nick just below Curie and James below Nick. How do you feel? Do you think Curie's a little bit better than Nick? Or do you like
maybe
Nick for
maybe
value?
a little bit better than Nick, but I do still, I think Nick is way more flexible than Curie, because Curie is just draw an extra card every turn, whereas Nick is do a little bit of everything.
Also, the fact that he's an artifact creature is relevant, and Nibiru points out. You could find Nick in the 99 of list and still run it for great effect as well. So keep this one in mind. It might be a decent utility in the 99 of some future decks. Anyway,
Indeed.
I like him a lot.
Going to the next one, Piper Wright, a legendary creature human detective, because we need more and more detectives, with 1 power and 2 toughness.
Didn't get enough.
Whenever Piper deals combat damage, investigate that many times. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a counter on Piper. What do you think, Patrick?
Better than Curie. Slower than Curie. But at least it's like... it's fine.
I will say,
fine. It's cool.
Yeah, any way to sacrifice an artifact outside of cracking it as a clue makes Piper do a lot of damage very quickly, and then you're just swinging for lethal on people very fast. Piper's very slow, much slower than Curie, but still really good.
Yeah, I would maybe put this into the casual territory, or D, sadly. Just because I think Curie is just a better card from the set at, like, a better stat line, too, at 1-3, and then obviously infinitely better depending on what it's sacrificing or what you make it. And you'll actually be playing for that, whereas I would say that I would put Piper in C.
Yeah,
I agree with that. All right, moving on. We only have 2 mono black legendaries from the set.
Yeah.
They're both okay. Sorry, guys. Spoiler.
Well, when you're Jet all the way. From your first cigarette till your last dying day. And no, I did not do that on tempo, just for the potential sake of a lawsuit that is 100% not going to happen. But Butch Delory. So, 1 and a black for a 2/2 legendary creature, human rogue with menace. Whenever Butch attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each rogue and or snake creature you control. Or it gets +1/+1 for each rogue and or snake creature you control. And then pay 1 and a black, put a menace counter on another creature you control, and it becomes a rogue in addition to its other types. So, let me just say, this does nothing as a commander, but in the 99, this is really good evasion.
Yeah. I agree. Put a menace counter on another creature, it becomes a rogue in addition to its other types. And then when he goes to attack, the rogues and the snakes get +1/+1 until end of turn.
He gets +1/+1 for each rogue and snake you control.
That's not bad. Put a menace counter on another creature. It's really not awful, all things considered. I mean, this is a really good 2-drop, just generally speaking.
2-mana 2/2 that can just aura menace onto things.
Right. And it's not even like a roll token or anything. Like, it's just a rogue for having the menace counter. Very weird. It's good. I would say it's a D for Deloria, though. We're not going to put this in the CZ.
Yeah, agreed.
But it's cool. All right,
Oh,
Hancock me.
yeah, we can talk about Hancock. 2 and a black for a 2/1 legendary creature, zombie mutant advisor. Each other creature you control that's a zombie or mutant gets plus X, where X is the number of counters on Hancock. Undying. Uh,
So at least +1/+1.
yeah, at least +1/+1. For, I will say, for casual, this can do some very fun things, because if you get counters on this in any way, shape, or form, he becomes a monster, because he's just like, oh yeah, he has 5 counters on him. All your 2/2 zombies have +5/+5, so they're all 7/7s. Murder. Really fun and casual and competitive? No.
Yeah, Hancock on his way to a D.
Yep. Well, I think maybe C.
C for casual. We'll do that.
Yeah. He can anthem your zombies really hard. I will say though, another undying creature for Yawgmoth.
Yeah. I still like Butch more as a card. I think Butch just does so much more. Generically, that is. He's got the commander hat at least. Came dressed for the job. Yeah, that's true. Butch Hancock Turbo. Stop. It's never gonna happen. All right, well, tell me about
aggro maybe. Going to our next one. We got 3 in red for a 4/3 legendary creature, human citizen. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a quest counter on it, pay 1 and remove a quest counter from a permanent you control and make a junk token. I scoured the depths to see if there's a combo here, because it looks like if you have any of the quest enchantments, you could probably combo off, but there isn't one that says one artifact you control is put into the graveyard or anything like that. So there is no infinite combo here, as far as I know.
D for Duchess.
Yeah, I'd say D. Granted, this is if Duchess was in green, might be a bit better, because whenever creature you control deals combat damage, you get a quest counter, then you can pay 1, draw a card, more or less. That's not bad. The issue is red can't build the board to save its life. If this was in white, this might have been A tier.
Well, I mean, what if you use just all your goblins? All your generated goblin token tapped and attacking.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, but no.
Yeah, I don't know. Play Godo. Next.
Oh, one second. Work phone is calling. We want to make sure it's not an emergency.
Oh, go for it. All right, guys. Oh, hey, he'll be back. I got him covered. Don't worry. Ian the Reckless can go infinite with a new goblin that makes mana when you sack an artifact. Oh, well. Oh, you might hear it.
I've returned.
Will, we might have fucked up.
What?
You forget the card Crime Novelist?
This doesn't care about Crime Novelist.
Duchess?
Yeah, whenever you remove a quest counter from a permanent you control. Not a counter, a quest counter.
Yeah, whenever you sacrifice an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on Crime Novelist and add a red, and then Duchess... Sorry, this is Mateus, by the way. This wasn't me. I never said this. And then you do remove a quest counter from a permanent and create a junk. D for Duchess. All right, Ian.
Yeah, D for Duchess.
Yeah,
Ian the Reckless, legendary creature, human warrior with 2 power and 2 toughness. Whenever Ian attacks, if it is modified, you may have it deal combat damage, or you may have it deal damage equal to its power to any target. Punch hard, go fast, do dumb things. Very fun and casual. Really good Voltron commander for cEDH D, but for casual, yeah, casual C.
Casual C?
There's not a lot to be said about this. This is a very simple, like, 1 line of text commander.
I may not be a very good fighter anymore, but I'm good enough to best the likes of you.
Yeah.
A flavor text. All right, we've got kind of a sick one with this next one. We got a lot of really dope robot commanders, prospective commanders.
This might be our first A tier from the set.
You really feel that way? All right, you need to walk me through that one, Will. I saw it when you brought it up. Yeah, and I feel good on it. But talk me through it.
So, Rose, Cutthroat Raider, 2 red for a legendary artifact creature robot with first strike, 2 power, and 3 toughness. Raid. At the end of combat on your turn, if you attack this turn, you make a junk token for each opponent attacked. Then, whenever you sacrifice a junk, add a red. So, the reason why this is such an insane card, one, junk just says tap, sack, impulse draw. You don't have to pay mana into it, for those who don't know what junk does. So, if you have any slight board, Rose is drawing you 3 cards a turn and making you 3 mana a turn. If you have any extra combats, you are drawing into those extra combats and you keep going more and more and more, and you don't even have to attack on those extra combats because you've attacked this turn and you've attacked those opponents this turn. So you just needed to do the 1 combat of attacking. You are now making 3 extra draws and 3 extra mana every single combat. If you have the Roaming Throne, you're getting 6 junk and 12 mana. You go very insane very quickly with this card, and it's just basically a mono red Tymna with first strike, and it makes you mana. It is an A tier, but it's like a low A tier. It's debatably better than Neheb Dreadhorde.
It's a low blow, Will. You know he's one of my favorites.
He's Rose is slower than Neheb, but Rose is way grindier than Neheb, because the best thing is, those junk are treasures now. You're making 3 treasures a turn that draw you cards when you sack
each opponent. You need to attack each opponent?
Correct.
What are you attacking with?
Rose and then any random creatures you can get your hands on.
I thought you established red has a tough time building a board, Will.
Yeah, but building a board of 3 creatures isn't too difficult, especially in a deck where you want to try to get extra combats, because red actually has creatures that let you cast extra combats from graveyard when they attack.
I don't know if I want to put in a wait here. Let's let the audience decide. I would say this is another B legendary, but let me. I don't want to sway anyone here. I think that it is a little demanding to have to attack all players. But let's do A or B, or that's it. That's what we're between. Where does it go? Okay, so there's a poll up for you. This is the first one that's up for contention for at least me. I think that Rose is fine, though. I'm not going to say anything. You just let me know your thoughts. It is definitely a slower Neheb. That doesn't mean it's bad. Obviously, you're going to want to run a lot of the same tech, like Hall of the Bandit Lord, any sort of haste enablers to get the ball rolling on this sooner. I think that token generators are going to help here, especially ones like the loyal retainer, the one that makes the Thopters that go crash into players. I'll
also say this one Rose doesn't have to connect.
No.
Rose just has to attack.
Mm-hmm.
But going to the other one while this poll's going up, the Motherlode Excavator, 3 red for legendary artifact creature robot with 5 power and 5 toughness. Whenever the Motherlode enters the battlefield, choose target opponent and get that much energy equal to the number of non-basic lands that player controls. Whenever the Motherlode attacks, you may pay 4 energy, and when you do, destroy target non-basic land that player controls, and creatures that player controls that flying can't block this turn. Land destruction and evasion. Cool, but not cool enough.
Pretty bad, Will.
Yeah, I'd say D. You can probably do this in the 99 of a spiky screw your lands deck, but I'd give it a D.
Damn, there's a lot of hope in the audience for Rose here. I'm going to let this one run for a while, but it's 5 votes in. Feel free to vote if you're watching. If you just go to the comments section for this live stream chat, you'll see the poll there. I'm going to put Rose in S for now because it's up for contention, but I will put the Motherlode of D into the D slot. All right, tell me about this girl with the fist, Will. What's going on with her?
Well, she is a 3-mana legendary creature, human artificer rogue with 3 power and 3 toughness and menace. And whenever she attacks, you may discard, and if you do, you draw a card. Whenever you discard a non-land card for the first time each turn, you create a junk token. Rummage in red in the command zone, and junk token creation, and if you have any discard effect, you can make multiple junk tokens. It's cool, but
All right, so it's Rummage, it's Manache, 3 for 3. Those are good stats. Whenever you discard one or more non-land cards, it's whenever you discard one or more non-land cards for the first time each turn. For the first time, why do you gotta do that?
because wheel
Yeah.
wheel would be horrifying.
Man, imagine like wheeling for 14. It's pretty solid. Veronica, you can get a D for Dissident, girl. I'm sorry. Am I wrong? Do you have different feelings on this?
No, I kind of agree. If it wasn't once per turn, I would probably put it to A, maybe even S, but no.
All right, well, moving on. Not to Ruska, Terra of Point Lookout.
Oh no, we can talk about Ruska.
No.
New Bear Commander. Let's go. Totally new Bear Commander. Ignore the fact that this is just Ayula, but with a new paint job. Your 2/2 bear that gets bigger when you
That
play
is
bears
one of
and
the
punches if you
things-
play bears. Let's go.
You should more easily see, though, if you buy those collector boosters, by the way. So you can see that.
Yeah. But to our actual next card, we got Harold and Bob. So, 2 and a green for a legendary creature, tree folk mutant with 3 power, 3 toughness, vigilance, and reach. Whenever Harold and Bob dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield as an aura enchantment with Enchant Forest you control. And Enchanted Forest has tap, add 3 mana of any one color, and get 2 rad counters. This loses all other abilities. So,
No vigilance, no reach?
no more vigilance, no reach. You can't have vigilance and reach on your aura, Patrick. I'm sorry. I know you wanted to attack with that aura that could never become a creature.
Will, could you break down rad counters for the lovely people at home? This is the first
Sure
one
thing.
we've seen, I think, that has mentioned rad counters from the set.
Yeah, green gets the rad counter stuff in the set.
Yeah.
So, rad counters are a new type of counter that go on players. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if they have any rad counters, they mill that many cards, and they lose life equal to the number of non-land cards they milled this way. Then, they get 1 more rad counter. So, the rad counters aren't exponential. If you have 2, you're not getting 2 more rad counters. You're just getting 1 more on top of the 2. So if you have 20 rad counters after they trigger, you get 1 more. If you have 2, you get 1 more.
Wait,
It
so...
doesn't go up exponentially.
Right, so I have the radiation up here. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, if you have any rad counters, mill that many cards for each non-land card milled this way, lose 1 life, and a rad counter.
Yep. That's it. You just mill equal to your rad counters, then you gain 1 more rad counter.
No, you lose.
That's
I think
it.
you lose 1. You lose 1
Correct.
life and a rad counter, yeah.
You lose 1 life for every non-land card milled that way.
Yeah, you lose. Yeah, so for each non-land card milled this way, you lose 1 life and a rad counter. So you'll effectively,
No.
you
don't lose a rad counter. You gain a rad counter, but
I think you're losing it here. So this
you
says,
do not.
This is verbatim. For each non-land card milled this way, you lose 1 life and a rad counter.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it's not
misread that.
perpetual.
Okay.
But so I mean it's unlike reality. Will normally radiation just fucks you up for good. So I don't blame you for feeling that way. But
Yeah, the thing is, the one time I saw gameplay with radiation, they played it with it. You get rad counters, not you lose rad counters.
yeah, thanks, Angelus. Just catching up with you guys. B for tree folk. B for tree folk. Mill everyone. I think the wise Mothman, when we get to him, will do that. I think I'm good to go B for. Sorry, not B. Harold and Bob get a D.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a longer conversation on them than I need. Wait, what, Nibiru? You got something for us on the first Newmans? Here, after we get through green, we'll close out the poll on Rose Cutthroat Rider, guys. If you haven't voted on this yet, please do. It's really integral. I don't want to give people a bad list, okay? but it's either an A or a B. Wait, but this F's up for good, like positive. How do you mean? Nibiru, okay, Lily Bowen.
Yeah, Lily Bowen, 3 and a green for a 0/0 with vigilance. When Lily Bowen enters the battlefield, it gets 2+1/+1 counters. At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of counters on Lily Bowen. If the power is 16 or less. Otherwise, remove all counters except 1 from Lily and Bowen, and then you gain 1 life for each counter removed this way. Purely life gain commander, and it gets big.
All right, well, D?
I'd say C. If you can get this to 15 counters, it becomes a 30/30 vigilance on your upkeep. That's fun and casual.
Okay. So, for Harold and Bob, Will, what if I told you there's a little card called Ashaya?
Okay.
And what if I told you there's a little card called Pillipala? Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that, but that means that you need to get Ashaya out, kill Harold and Bob,
I know.
have a Pillipala out, make it non-summoning sick, and then do the thing.
Yeah, you can't even enlist a Pillipala while he enters the battlefield. Do you think you're gonna go infinite with him? No. Hey, I think Nibiru brought this one. I'm sorry, not Nibiru. Mateus said Harold and Ashaya. Yeah, fuck Bob. Harold and Ashaya. Enchant to untap her like Pillipala. B for Tree Folk. Damn, folks. I'm reading this now. Lillian Ozolith? You can do Lily Ozolith. Isn't that just a worst... what's that one guy? The burrow dude who keeps his counters no matter where he goes? He's like his own...
Skullbriar or whatever.
Skullbriar. Yeah, I just know the artist that did the art for that card. That's about it, because it looks so good. I don't know about playing that card, but he's like an Ozolith by himself.
Yeah.
Harold and Bob, guys, if you want to put him in S, just tell me. I don't know.
Harold and Bob is so bad, though. It's like a 3-card combo, excluding the commander and the command zone.
But it's infinite mana without a payoff.
Well, the payoff is that you mill your entire deck and kill yourself on your upkeep.
You get to add 2 rad counters?
No, you don't get to. You have to.
It reads you get 2 rad counters, sorry.
Yeah. But you don't get to get them. You have to get them.
You enjoy 2 rad counters.
You're on. Eating that radiation.
Yeah, whether you want to or not. I'm gonna leave. Convince me on Harold and Bob, but I'm gonna leave it in the D for now. I'm sorry.
Well, next we have Strong. 4 green for 7/7. 6 mana 7/7. Let's go. Legendary creature, mutant berserker with ward 2. A self-protecting 7/7 commander. Let's go. Whenever Strong is dealt damage, you get 3 rad counters and 3 counters on Strong, or 3+1/+1 counters on Strong. You gain life instead of losing life from radiation. So this card is really fun, really dumb, and it lets you do mono green pingers in casual, and it is brutal because you're gonna have like a 25/25 that's gaining you your entire deck's worth of life every single turn, and then you just have shuffle titans and do dumb stuff. I love this card for casual.
What is the best way to ping Strong in mono green?
Mono green has some weird like AoE ping effects, but it's mostly artifacts. You're mostly using artifacts to ping Strong. But the thing is, you don't even need to ping him much. And then he's self-protecting with ward 2.
Yeah, it's awkward because, like, is dealt damage any amount, you get the 3 rad counters and get 3+1/+1 counters. It's, like, grossly effective. Is there, are there any shenanigans to move the counters from this guy to other things? Like, is there a way we can move counters to, not just Ozolith, but, like... I don't know, that we've got artifact creatures that might be manipulated for a combo here. Mind you, it all amounts to just a really big thing. I would say C for casual. It's kind of dope, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's very fun and casual. It's a self-protecting big body that's gaining you a ton of life every turn.
Strong as a self-mill commander. You can also pair him with the Fight Worm. I like that. I'd still put him in the C territory, but I do like that if he has Ward 2. Why not?
Okay,
Magic's in their Ward phase. Well,
yeah, they realized hexproof is kind of dumb.
yeah, but I mean, isn't Ward 3 just hexproof anyways?
In cEDH, yeah.
Hexproof of a different name. Anyway.
But next we have Ganon. Not Ganondorf, but Ganon Arcade.
Yeah.
2 white blue for a legendary creature human doctor with 2 power and 3 toughness. Tap, draw a card, and discard a card. Put a quest counter on Arcade. And then, once during each of your turns, you may cast an artifact or human from your graveyard with mana value less than or equal to Arcade's counters. Kind of cool card. You can keep recurring artifacts, you can keep recurring humans, and you have a little bit of hand fixing and can go through your deck with Isochron Scepter, Dramatic Reversal. The fact that it has an ISO reversal line and it lets you keep replaying Drana the Magistrate over and over and over and over and over again until people just scoop out of infuriation is pretty funny. I think it goes in B just because you can do that.
I really like this card. I like this card a lot. I could probably, I wouldn't necessarily, but you could gut a certain Shorakai list and make a different 4 CMC Ganon deck. I think the value proposition here is really good because I think you're going to ultimately see more cards with Shorakai, but the ability to recur artifacts and humans, artifacts in particular, let's be honest, from our graveyard, based off of quest counters, there's just a lot of value long term here. Like, I like Arcade Ganon quite a bit.
I do want to point out one thing to you, Patrick. Ranger Captain of Eos is a human.
Alright, never mind. A for Arcade. Are we putting him in A?
We could, if you want to put him in A. I think he's pretty good. I don't think he's insane, but you can do a lot of dumb stuff with Arcade.
He's just a value engine. Mind you, he's not Shorakai, the difference being it's draw 2.
The other thing being Shorakai doesn't have summoning sickness.
No, it does not. And you also just make bodies that you can do things with. I think that Shorakai is an A and Arcade is maybe a B. I'm happy with that. And let's end the poll on Rose. Sorry, I'm going to end this while you go through that.
I will say the difference between Arcade and Shorakai is you are really not discarding cards to Arcade. You're discarding an artifact that you immediately replay. So you're just tapping to draw a card and then play a card from the graveyard.
Yeah. Yeah, once during your turn, you may cast an artifact. Yeah.
Hold up, is there like a 0 mana or human that reduces its cost? Oh no, but you can only play it once per turn. Never mind. I was gonna say like what is it called?
Once during each of your turns specifically.
Yeah. What's it called? Intruder Alarm. I was gonna say Intruder Alarm, and then you just go by playing a 0 coster that you sack. Oh, Rose got A. Let's go.
Mateus brings up Knowledge Pool.
For
Fran is its Magistrate with Umamask combo commander Dranith. The Doctor? Is this a slow Lion's Eye play? Arcade Ganon? You're only getting to do it like, what was the name of that very Kess? You only get to do it the once per turn, so it's like just a value play for the turn, but...
Be fair, having your entire graveyard as a pool of things that you can pull from is pretty nice. I'll also say you can mill your entire library in blue or white with some BS, and then you can get out Agatha Soul Cauldron.
Yeah. Actually,
There are avenues for Arcade. I think Arcade is an A just because there are so many different things you can do for him, on top of the fact that he draws you 1 card per turn and keeps recurring that one annoying stacks piece until people lose their frickin' minds.
Right. And again, it's a card quality effect because it is strictly a loot, so you're not really going up a hand size here. But the thing you discard could be the thing you cast for it could just be your Lotus Petal, right? Like, hold it, don't go crazy yet, or discard that Mox Diamond to like draw that land, discard the Mox Diamond, cast the Mox Diamond. There's some cool things you can do with Arcade. So Arcade is Dranith and Ubamass Knowledge Pool Commander. You lock the game and beat everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could put an Ozolith with Arcade so you don't lose the quest counter. Arcade needs funding. That's right. Go to his GoFundMe now.
You really don't even need many quest counters on him. I think once you hit 2 to 3 quest counters, you're just good for the game.
I'm sorry, audience. Are we saying that Arcade's an A?
I think Arcade's an A, because worst case scenario, you're playing Arcade and then immediately playing that Jeweled Lotus that you just used to play Arcade.
Okay, so Arcade, Ganondorf. I'll let you guys choose. Is it an A, a B, or a D? There's no in between.
You know what's funny? You know what Arcade, or you know what Ganondorf's biggest weakness is? Blink. He loses all of those counters.
Yeah, that is true. Elder Owen Lyons. I could read this one.
Go ahead.
It's here. He's uncommon. He's cool. There's power suits in the background. 3/3 body for 4 mana. Ugh. Artifacts you control have ward 1. So cheap. So
Trinisphere is making people miserable.
yeah, right. When Elder Owen Lyons enters the battlefield or dies, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. That's right. Eat it, Arcade. I like artifacts too. You know, is there a combo here?
There's probably some kind of combo.
Or dies. Will, come on. Gotta have dreams. Gotta have dreams if you want to play this game. You could do what's cool is if it's an artifact based combo, say with something like a Cloudstone Curio, it's really hard. It's harder for them to interact with because of the ward. However, if Lions is part of this Cloudstone line, it's still difficult because there isn't a period where he isn't on the battlefield when they would put something on the stack. So outside of targeting Lions, obviously, which, you know, ward isn't a complication, your combo pieces themselves should be fine. And if you do target Lions with anything outside of a Swords or a Path, Nibiru, I hear you, outside of an exile effect, then you'll get the die trigger and get to bring the Jeweled Lotus back or whatever, the non-combo piece from your graveyard. I feel like there's a Cloudstone line here, and I'm not going to try to think too hard on it, but I will think a little bit.
The only issue with trying to do Cloudstone line is Cloudstone doesn't trigger off of artifact creatures entering, so
no.
You can't. Yeah,
no. You would just need like recovery. You would just have two different recovery cards going back and forth.
You recover Lotus Petal infinitely, then recover any self-sacking draw artifact infinitely. I'll say you can do Nim Deathmantle and any artifact creature that's a low CMC with like an altar or something, because you just need to get up to 4 mana. So theoretically, you could do something there and you get every artifact from your grave to hand.
Yeah. So mind you, Curio is back to hand. So
yeah,
you do need to actually recast the thing.
I'll say the Lannis is probably D. That the ward 1 on artifacts is funnily brutal, although it's going to make Trinisphere be 4 mana to kill it.
Arcade is an A. You go infinite untaps and then win. So sure, Nibber. I keep messing you two up. So sure, Mateus. A certain robot removal is an OP road. Get back Jeweled Lotus with this. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I say D. I feel like with a little bit of effort, he could do a thing. What? No KCI lines?
It's a lot of effort. It's a bit more effort than I think you're giving it credit for.
No KCI lines for Owens. Owen Lions.
Well, the issue is he's not an artifact.
No.
So it makes KCI a lot harder.
Wow, we really like Arcade, huh?
Yeah, Arcade's good.
Go infinite untaps and win. Yeah, I mean, you are not wrong. Would I rather do this over the, I don't know, what's better? The what's that Demure one that we talked about recently? Rona?
Yeah, we got Rona, we got the V1, we got a couple different things in Demure that do the same general thing.
Better at doing the, I forget if she's a loot or a rummage, but isn't she just better at doing loot?
I think Ganon is better just because he has the second effect, because he recurs Isochron Scepter for you, but also just hard stacks out the game.
But
Oh no, you killed.
Demir will.
Screw you, Demir. I have a Drain of Magistrate that's never dying.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to let you guys keep voting on that. We can move on,
Patrick,
though.
you keep recurring Mother of Runes 2 million times until people
Yeah.
scoop because they can't kill Ganon.
The first activation, Mother stays. Giver stays. If his second ability wasn't once a turn, I would like Arcade more. Yeah, they had to cap it, though. I can understand why.
If it was not once per turn, he would just go Lotus Petal.
Yeah, could you imagine that? If it was once every turn, maybe there'd be some cool, fun plays with like flash effects or anything that give you the ability to flash things out, but they had to cap it. Better than Shorikai? I think they're comparable. Again, like I don't think they're too far off, but I do think Shorikai's a little bit better than this. They could be on the same.
Shorkai's faster combo. Ganon is way better stacks, but the fact that Shorkai can combo in like 3 to 4 different ways that Ganon can't is what makes me think Shorkai's better as a combo commander.
But like Azorius loves that shit though. I mean, you don't mainline too many recursion spells in white or Azorius in particular, but the fact that it's on your commander and is just tacked on to a value ability, it is kind of dope. I don't dislike Arcade at all. I just don't like his art.
You don't like the guy just sitting there with his iPad, just going like,
sitting on bed with 3 green barrels behind him. No, I can't say that art gets me excited about playing him. Shorikai is a freaking machine with
He's like
pilots running
Gundam.
to crew it. It's way cooler looking. It's way cooler looking. Anyway, you want to do Rex or should I do Rex?
Yeah, so next is Rex. 1 white blue for a 2/2 legendary creature artifact robot dog. Whenever Rex deals combat damage to a player, they mill 2 cards and you get 2 energy. You may pay 2 energy, choose target creature in a graveyard, and exile it with a brain counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery. Rex has all activated abilities of cards exiled with brain counters on them. What do you think?
Turn. It's played. This dog sucks. Sorry, all the energy cards are kind of from the set. Like I really like that we're getting to see energy counters applied to cards again, but none of these are titillating. It's just another resource you get to manage in this game, and I really liked when these came out with a Kaladesh, but it like in a limited environment it was fun to play with, but here it's okay to build a deck around something like this is kind of just okay. You're not really, we just covered a card that does this way better, can I say? And that card is Lazov. Lazov is just a way better version of this without the hoops and what else do dogs have to jump through? Without all of those, this is a D. There's just better. And not in Azorius, mind you, Lazov is Demir, but yeah, I don't know. Do you have any?
This is probably a C, because you can do fun stuff for this, because casual likes energy counter things. Competitively, this card could probably do some dumb combos here or there, but primarily it's just going to be a commander that gets really dumb abilities stacked onto it over time, like a Marisol the Pretender. But now you're in white, so you get to do some slightly different things.
D for Robot Dog.
I'd say C for Cyborg.
Oh, you would give it a C?
I'd give it a C.
I'll give the dog a C.
It's also a little bit of mill, which is fun.
Oh, dogs like a little bit of mill. Anyways, moving on.
So next we have Ral. 1 a blue and a black for a legendary creature zombie mutant rogue with 1 power and 4 toughness. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell card from your graveyard that was milled this turn. Tap. Each player mills a card. So, what do you think, Patrick? Any thoughts?
I don't like the way he's lipping that bottle. Is this supposed to be Deadpool?
It looks like it, I know.
It really does, doesn't it?
Okay, any thoughts on something that doesn't have to do with the art?
Raul Alfonso Tejada, former gunslinger and sole survivor of Hidalgo Ranch, at your service.
Okay,
One forging
anything that has to
return
do with the actual
card.
effect text of the card.
It's fine. I mean, you may cast a spell from among cards in your graves that were milled this turn. Like, the fact that he mills himself does help you do this, but isn't the Garbage Boy better than this?
Oscar? Well,
Oscar?
Oscar is when you discard.
Oh, it's okay. So what are you gonna tell me? Brain freeze this guy, win the game?
Yeah, you could do Brain Freeze, you could do Icecrown Scepter, just do infinite untaps. It's what you're
Right.
saying, why Ganon's bad, because he doesn't have black in the color. Well, Ral does.
Better,
Um,
better Ganon.
I wanted to bring this up as well, because this is a confusing thing that I've had the discussion with on
Hermit
people on the Discord. So, mill versus milled. So, it seems, as far as I've checked, mill refers to the action of putting the top X cards of your library into the graveyard, whereas milled refers to a card that has been put into the graveyard from the library this turn. So, weirdly enough, if you entomb a card, you can play it from the graveyard with Ral because the card was milled. It was put from the library into the graveyard, but you did not mill the card off of Entomb. It's weird. As far as I know, as far as every single source that I've checked, that is how that works. But I don't know.
What? What are you talking about? If
So
you entomb a card, you can
if you
cast it.
entomb a card, so milled refers to a card that was put from the library to the graveyard. It did not have to be the top card of the library. It just has to have been put from the library to the graveyard. So entomb puts a card into the graveyard, and that card is considered milled for all effects that care.
Well, if that's true, A.
I
No,
wouldn't say A, but I would say it's a bit better.
once during each of your turns, it's still getting capped that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could say it's a B. There are untapped things you can do with this. Also, it is its own win con, mind you. Look, I know people don't like to look at it this way. I know people don't like have to pass to achieve a win. But if you mill everyone out and there isn't a noxious revival or there's no way for them to recover a potential draw, then yes, they will lose the game effectively by decking themselves. So it's not like that isn't a possible outcome. But if you're...
Or if someone doesn't, what is it? If someone doesn't jumpstart their Dahada's ploy to discard Laboratory Maniac to shallow grave that Laboratory Maniac, then draw off the draw, or win off the draw of Dahada's ploy. That happened to a friend of mine. I did that to a friend of mine.
Nibru says it's a D. I think it's a
B, just due to the fact that it kind of draws a card every turn and gives some level of utility, but it's like the lowest B that we probably have.
It's the lowest B. I wouldn't play this in casual. There could be some fun mill shenanigans you can do, I guess, but I haven't really looked at the range of mill cards, effective mill cards, but I would need to research this. I think it's a B. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I agree to that.
Arcade Ganon Fire, we can end the poll on that. This boy's an A. This boy's an A. If Rose is an A, then this boy is an A, okay? All right, moving on to the man with a child.
Yeah, Kellig, dangerous mind. How dangerous could a man with a child be? Well, let's see. One, a black and a red for a legendary creature, human mercenary with 3 power, 2 toughness, 1st strike, and haste. Whenever Kellogg, I'm just going to call him Kellogg's, whenever Kellogg's attacks, you get a treasure, and you can sack 5 treasures to gain control of target creature as long as you control Kellogg's. And then activate only as a sorcery. This card is very fun for casual. For competitive, this card does a whole lot of nothing. You get 1 extra mana a turn. We have the weird cat tiger thing that's dockside at home that does this better.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're getting some suggestions on Raul Mesmeric Orb. My issue is, like, I wouldn't want to fuel any sort of underworld breaches. And you're going to be doing that anyways with him. Like, it's a double-edged sword playing a mill strategy, especially Mesmeric Orb. Although Mesmeric Orb can really screw things up too sometimes, so. Kellogg is an A.
All right, Nibiru, tell us why Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is an A.
Pupsam says, just joined in late and I saw your input on Curie Emergent Intelligence. I actually dig it. Exile a Phyrexian Dreadnought, exactly. And exile it in response to the sacrifice trigger to make a 12/12. Yeah.
It's really fun.
No, it's funny exiling it to its sacrifice effect. You're like, no. You're going somewhere way further away. But I'll be a 12/12 from here on out.
You're going way further away, but you're also staying right here.
Yeah, you'll be here in spirit and my newfound strength. I think that I really want to see Curie played. Obviously, Curie, the issue to me is that it doesn't have any natural evasion and it is based off of damage, correct? So you do need to find a target, which isn't always going to be the case. Like, people will keep blockers up for you, and if you're going to swing a 12/12 at them, despite them really liking their commander, they might need to take one for the team. Is letting you, I don't know, Will, do you fall on your own sword if a mono blue list is about to draw 12 cards? Do you just let it happen? Or
you do not let it happen. You do literally everything in your power to prevent that, because if a mono blue deck draws 12 cards, they have 3 counter spells from then on out, and they're threatening to draw 12 more next turn.
I swing a 12/12 Curie at your Zur. What do you do?
I probably block with Zur unless I'm planning on winning the very next turn.
I mean, because you're going to see virtually more cards than 12. Surely I can't win with 12 cards.
Well, that is the thing. You're probably not winning with 12 cards, but that's not my issue. My issue is the fact that if you draw 12 cards, if you have any way of killing my Zur, I'm just dead.
Yeah, but bearing in mind that this is pretending that we turn 1 Curie and then we turn 2 both a Phyrexian Dreadnought and activate for a generic and a blue, like, they're going to need free spells to do anything, right? So, and this is also bearing in mind that you had a turn 1 Zur, which is awesome for you. So I think that realistically you might be able to let them get away with that, but you want to kill the thing, because the more options you allow them to have. Sorry, Pup Stomp. We have moved on. I'm glad you joined. Thank you for your input. I really want to see the deck. Maybe that's what we built. Maybe that's, I don't know. It just sounds so damned interesting. There's so many interesting legendaries from the set. But Nibiru says, name is enough. It has haste. The blue guy cares about base stats is probably an A. Curie.
Yeah. I keep going to Curie, and I'm like, I think Curie might be the best B tier that we have, maybe an A tier.
I was not high on it. We can go back to Curie in a few. Pub, if you have any more feelings, feel free to share them. But I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on Curie. Sorry, Will. Where are you at on Kellogg?
Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is probably either a C or D.
So it's not as good as Magda? You don't want to sacrifice? 5 treasures?
Sacrifice to steal a commander is not as good as sacrifice 5 to win the game.
Yeah, it's weird. Turn 1 Sir doesn't block. That's funny. I don't think so either. I'm just saying, like, what is the scenario where everyone has a blocker? So I'm like, who am I going to attack into? Probably the Zur player, right? Like, you probably wouldn't. I don't know. I feel like when push comes to shove, you'd be like, man, I hate that, because you're putting so much pressure on that player too. It's kind of a dick move. You're like, hey, you with goals and dreams.
Well, here's the other part you're forgetting, Patrick. I'm taking 12 in my Turbo Necropodes deck. Instead of going down like 37 cards, I'm going down to, what would that be, 25?
Mm-hmm.
That hurts. That hurts.
True. But I mean, if you just recast it next turn, I'd probably go for you again. But like, the fact of the matter is, I think that Curie, with great power comes great responsibility, right? I think you do need to attack the players that have black in their part of the color pie. So it only logics that you go for the Zur, whether damned if you do, damned if you don't, and screw your dreams, Zur. We don't really care. At any rate,
also really quick to end Jealous, thoughts on, or thought experiment, Frosted Flakes with extra combats. 1 treasure per combat does not an infinite combat combo make.
No.
That is why Rose is potentially good enough, because you make at least 3, and you could probably make more with any kind of trigger copy effect.
I'm gonna say Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is D for dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Here, I'll read this next one. It's gonna be quick. Legate Caesar's Ace. Two generic and Rakdos.
I
Human
got this
soldier.
next one. Except with the name. I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
So I hear you saying, why is this 4 CMC creature a 2/2? Well, when Linnaeus enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a 10th of the creatures they control, rounded up. So if it's one creature, it's one creature.
One creature, they sack one. If they have 2 creatures, they sack one. If they have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 creatures, they sack one.
Right.
If they have 10 creatures, then they sack 2.
No,
sorry. If they have 10 creatures, they still sack one. If they have 11, then
right,
they sack 2.
Watch out, Najila. I'm coming for you. Whatever an opponent sacrifices.
For you, Winota, I'm gonna make you sack 2 things.
Yeah, it's awkward. I'm sure that there's a storied reason why this is the way it is. It's a D.
Yeah, agreed.
For cEDH players, mind you. Maybe there's
no, even in casual, I don't think casual players are playing this. They'd rather run the Rakdoses that do weird sack things instead.
Sorry, Caesar's Ace.
Yeah, Cage Brawler. 1 red, 1 green for a legendary creature, human warrior with 1 power, 1 toughness that's indestructible as long as it's your turn. Whenever Kate attacks, you and defending player each draw a card, then discard a card. Put 2 counters on Kate if you discarded a card with the high CMC among the cards or tied. So, yeah, as long as you discard higher CMC than your opponent, you keep making Kate stronger.
Is Kate the one getting punched, or Kate the one in the back?
Kate is the one punching.
Okay. Kate's the puncher.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. You have to assume, right? But you never know. I'm gonna say
I'd say
C
D.
for casual.
C
for
or
Kate.
D. I'd lean for C.
Yeah, I mean,
theoretically, you get this out on 2, and you keep giving it +2/+2 every turn.
know.
It's just an indestructible beater. If it was in white as well, then you could do fun land destructive stuff to make people very sad and salty. But
I'm iffy on Kate. I think it is between a C or a D. Like, I might want to fool with this in a casual setting. And if you're a fan of the games, maybe this is a character you care about. But
I do want to say it does World Slayer. Hate World Slayers.
So
I'd give it a casual for World Slayer. Actually, that's fun.
Give World Slayers fun. You heard it here first, folks.
It's a way of ending the game.
True. Do people want that in casual? I thought they just were in it for the vibes.
I mean, it's
like
a combo, but it's okay, cool. You paid 10 mana with a very weirdly built around commander.
Will. I can't believe you said it. You want to win the game? Gross. You're not casual anymore.
Hey, I upgraded my $7 Socialist into an $8 Socialist. I've become one of those scumbag Timmy players.
Degenerate.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I made that joke, and everyone's like, haha, how much better is it going to be? And then I went on like a 5-game win streak in our next game night, and everyone's like, screw that deck.
Casually, I think Kate Madness deck. It's kind of dope, actually. It's a warrior, still C. Mateus, get out of here with this warrior nonsense. No, I sure. Yeah, we could say that. Then discarding. Okay, moving on. I'll read. We can take turns. Colonel Autumn for generic and Orzhov, human soldier, 2/3 body, lifelink, exploit. That's right. You can kill a thing. Other legendary creatures you control have exploit. Whenever a creature you control exploits a creature, what else would you be exploiting? Anyways, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control.
There are better legendary tribal things that you could be doing. This is a D.
That's a big old D. All right. World Sleeper. Moving on.
Well, Elder Arthur, 1 white black for a legendary creature, human knight with 4 power, 2 toughness, and creature tokens you control have training. And then you can sacrifice another creature, and then this gains indestructible until end of turn. For those who don't know, training says whenever a creature token you control attacks with another creature with greater power, put a +1/+1 counter on that token.
So, on a token list, if you wanted to go wide with the
Also,
Monastery Monk,
also,
don't
I think
the...
they changed the. Hold up, I want to check to make sure they didn't change the word training specifically, or the reminder text because he specifically names tokens. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's not whenever token. It's just whenever a creature with training you control attacks with another creature with more power. There you go.
Really?
Yeah,
Creature tokens you control have training? Is the flavor
yeah.
text the same?
So they changed the wording, and it's just supposed to be whenever this creature, but since it says your tokens have training, they changed the wording to say whenever a creature token
Mm-hmm.
instead.
Like, did we get the Doom Marine in this set for some reason? But at any
I will.
rate,
I'll say this is probably one of the better like anthem effects that we have because if
yeah.
you have a freaking 4/2 on board, your board is slowly going to become a bunch of 4/4 tokens.
Yeah, no, and like, hell, how can you get this to scale exponentially? Like anything that scales with creature tokens, like just being on the battlefield. This is kind of a cool effect. Like there's a lot of, I think that this is a C. Let me just start off with
Yeah,
that. And I think that Elder Arthur Maxon gets to play with all the cool, dumb token generators that exist in Azorius. Like, I really do like this. And I can think of a lot of token generators in these colors. So,
can I point out the one really dumb thing that people have been bringing up that works really well with Maxon? The
what?
Ozolith. Oh, you have a token that has 3 counters on it. Okay, sack it to give Maxon indestructible until
Right.
end of turn. Make him 7 power. Oh, all of your tokens are slowly going to become 7
Yeah.
sevens. Oh, sacrifice one of those guys. Give him 6 more counters. All of your tokens are going to become
And
13/13s.
vitally too, because when it comes to removing this guy, it's either single target removal or like a big splashy thing like Toxic Deluge. The bigger he gets, the harder you fall. It's kind of dope. And also the fact that you just get indestructible. Like it's difficult to dance around this guy. He's not bad. I like him. I think it's a C for sure. I don't know how hard it can go. If you did like a heavy stacks list with token generation and in Commander, maybe it could fit into the B territory, but I feel like there's maybe better stacks commanders to play. But I could see you going low and slow with this. It would be kind of dope.
Yeah.
Shit,
Well,
I don't know. It's not exciting enough for me to build, unlike Curie. Moving on.
yeah. Next, we have a McCready Lamplight Mare, a white and a black for a legendary creature human advisor with 1 power, 3 toughness that says whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, it gets Skulk until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control with power 4 or greater attacks, that controller, or sorry, its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So, yeah, whenever you get attacked by a big thing, you get stats. Whenever you attack with a small thing, it gets evasion.
D?
I'd say
It's
D.
another Luris deck.
Yeah. You gain life in it. Come on, Patrick. Turbo Naz.
Yeah.
You're getting attacked with all those 4 power creatures to gain 2 life.
No, the Kumbal is just better. Just play Kumbal if you want to make people lose life. This is a D. I'm sorry.
I'll say in the 99, this is pretty good in a lot of decks because the evasion is actually pretty good, but
I know it's pretty.
Commander D.
No, I don't disagree. Like, yeah, it's weird. Like Maxon is just better. We got a lot of Orzavians there, but I would say Maxon is certainly the best of this lot. Red Death Shipwrecker. I bet you this is a really cool character from the games, but I have not played the recent game. So we've got Is It? Crab Mutant 1/3 body. You could tap to goad target creature an opponent controls. That player draws a card, you add 1 red. How great.
I do want to point out, it isn't Isochron Scepter when you can deck out everybody as long as they control it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that player needs a creature for you to target to make them draw. So there is a hiccup here, but you have every reason now to run the most exotic of orchards. So what you'll do is it's exotic orchard that gives them the spirit, right?
Yeah.
So just make sure everyone has a creature in play lined up. The thing you could do to stop this line of play would be to get rid of the creature. What I'm saying is it's not the easiest setup for that, and generally you're not going to want to use this as ramp. or to dance around something attacking you. But you're absolutely right. You could win the game with this off of Isochron lines of play. And it's not like that isn't something Izzet wants to do anyways.
Yeah, potentially. Like, it's so hard because it does have an Isochron Scepter win, but it does literally nothing else.
I want to
So
say
it's
that
kind
this
of
is a
bad.
D because they're better ISO decks.
Yeah.
Are we
Also,
wrong?
fun fact: this ability is not a mana ability because you target a
Right.
thing.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's weird. It is an activated ability with mana effect, but yeah, it is not like KCI that we brought up earlier, right? Like
Yeah.
that is a mana ability, or LED like we brought up earlier. That is a mana ability, despite it you discarding your hand. Okay, so D.
Yeah.
C for crab. C for crab. Angela says, and thank you, Pub. You mentioned the ISO Rev line as well. But no, yeah, McReady in Najila. Is McReady in Najila?
You know what? That's actually probably a yeah.
No.
Because all of your 1/1s have Skulk.
Man.
Oh wait, no. So it's on attack. It's on declaration of attack.
Whenever
so
a
the
creature
things that come in tapped and attacking don't have Skull.
but like later.
Yeah.
But later, it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or greater. I mean, Mateus, you just let us know how that goes, okay?
Yeah.
see if it ends your streak. You slotting this in your 5-color deck. I don't know. I mean, it's an eerily fierce guardianship for the Red Death. Oh, just having an active. God, just play Rograk. Stop. Wait, Sean, Father of the Sins.
Okay, I'm gonna do this one, and I'm not even gonna give it the respect of actually going through the whole card.
Whoa,
No. This is Bad Helm of the Host because one, it's 5 mana, and you don't have to equip it or anything, which sounds like it's good. But whenever you attack, you may create a tapped and attacking token copy of a legendary creature you control other than Sean, except it's not legendary and it's an artifact creature in addition to its other types. The issue is, the token doesn't have haste, so you don't have any infinite combos here. I've looked through every single thing that you can possibly do with this commander, and it pisses me off because I thought Godo worked, but it doesn't.
Well, so Devin, Pub Stomp MTG, chimed in earlier. He said, Sean, Father of Sins is my most anticipated one. Straight up combos with Kiki Jiki.
Though?
Kiki Jiki.
It doesn't, though, because the issue is that you get a non-hasted Kiki Jiki token and have to attack with Kiki Jiki to get the token.
Explain, Pub. Explain.
Yeah, so you attack with Kiki Jiki, then you get a token copy of Kiki Jiki. I guess you can have the hasty, but the hasty token copy is tapped and attacking, so you have to wait a turn to get it to enter. So yes, it combos with Kiki Jiki, but you have to get Kiki Jiki, attack with Kiki Jiki, get the token copy, enter tapped and attacking, have it survive the combat, untap it somehow, or wait an entire turn cycle, then you get infinite tapped Kiki Jiki tokens.
That doesn't sound good to you?
It's so bad. It is so bad.
You may create a tapped and attacking target token that's a copy of target attacking legendary. Jeez, there's so many. The alliteration. Legendary creature. I just don't want to play this card because I don't want to read this card. It's also a 10 mana combo. It's kind of up there.
Yeah.
Target Kiki with Kiki. You don't have to attack with Kiki. Copy Kiki. That's not legendary. Perforos. Mass Kiki.
No. So Pub Stomp, or you have to create a token copy of an attacking legendary you control. So you have to attack with Kiki Jiki. Then the token enters tapped and attacking. So now you have a tapped Kiki Jiki.
I think you attack with Sean. So whenever you attack with Sean, you may create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of target attacking legendary creature. So there is that hiccup. You control.
He does have to be attacking.
Sean.
Whatever the target is, has to be attacking.
Oh my god.
No. I don't even judge you for misreading, because he just said in chat, yeah, I misread that. I don't judge you for misreading that. I misread the card like 4 times.
My head hurts from reading this card, Will.
Because I was like, oh, it combos with this. Nope, it doesn't. It combos with this. Nope, it doesn't. It combos with this. Nope, it doesn't. I hate him. I hate him so much. I thought it was so good that it turned out to be trash.
D for dad? He's a
Yeah,
father. He's a father
yeah.
of sins.
He's a father.
All right, we're going to the Doom Marine. Agent Frank Horrigan for 7 mana. 8-6. Get hyped. You can tell by my tone. 8-6. Mutant Warrior. Trample. Agent Frank Horrigan has indestructible as long as it attacked this turn. Can you say World Slayer?
Yeah.
whenever Agent Frank Horrigan enters the battlefield or attacks, proliferate twice. That's right. Duplicate all the shit that no one has.
I'd say this is a very fun C. It's a slightly better OG Atraxa because he can double up the speed of those infect tokens, or double up the speed of those planeswalkers, or do World Slayer stuff, or just be a massive beater.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, C range. It's fun C. 100% with you there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got Cass. The only way it works for pub is you need to give OG Kiki vigilance. Oh my god. Wait, keep cracking it.
Is it? It hurts so bad. It hurts so
brain
bad. It looked like
hurts.
such a good commander.
My brain too hurts. I'll read Cass. We're here. Hand of Vengeance. For 2 generic and Boros, Human Ranger, 4/3 body, Vigilant. Whenever Cass or another creature you control dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, return any number of aura cards that were attached to it from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to target creature. Then attach any number of equipment that were attached to it to that creature. Combo? Mambo combo?
I don't think it combos, but it's very close to comboing. Because you can basically recur a Kaya's Ghost Form style effect,
Right.
and then put it onto another creature. And then if you have any sack effect, you just go sack, 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 sack. White does not have a Ghost Form style aura.
Doesn't it have Angelic Renewal?
Yeah, but that's not an aura, it's an enchantment.
Yeah. Kai's Ghost Form is black, what Will's referencing, right? So
yeah. There's potential. This card could become a combo commander in the future, even if we get a Ghost Form.
Yeah, it's like a think too hard combo, like Gerard. I mean, Gerard does have combos, mind you, but I remember when Gerard came up, people were like, better Teshard? And it's like, no, it's not. You want the clean. You want the simple solution is usually the best solution. And Cass, when there's this much text on a card, it doesn't seem like a simple solution.
I'll say that this is very fun and casual.
Sorry. See Cass for casual?
Yeah, because in casual, you just do Voltron. Then when that Voltron creature dies, you Voltron the next creature. Then when that creature dies, Voltron the next, and the next, and the next.
All right, Will. Devin says, let's make our brains hurt about Sean just a little bit more. I got it. Intruder Alarm with Kiki and Sean, but you need a payoff with either Perforos or an extra combat. Either way, 70 hoops. Yeah, it's totally worth it. How about instead of Sean, just play the new, if you want a better clone copy commander, play the new Saheeli. She's really good. I think she's better than this, right? The Saheeli from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan?
Yeah.
I like that better.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with cast for casual. What about the new aura that gives you an extra attack step? The new aura that gives you an extra attack step.
Are you talking about Breath of Fury? Hold on.
No. That's not new, though.
I know, that's why I was...
But you're right, but Breath of Fury would allow you to, whenever another creature you control dies, which it would be sacrificed to Breath of Fury, if it was enchanted or equipped, return any... The thing is that...
Breath of Fury automatically moves itself around. Grim Reaper's Sprint.
Reaper's Sprint?
Hold, that's the other additional combat aura. Grim Reaper Sprint says...
Look it up words, Will.
Cost 3 or less... So it's as morbid, cost 3 less. It's a 5 mana enchantment. Enchant creature. When Grim Reaper Sprint enters the battlefield, untap each creature you control. If it's your main phase, there's an additional combat after this phase. So... The idea is that you can have the creature die, then you move this to something else, take an extra combat, do it again. So you're building a Breath of Fury. Yeah,
Uh,
that's the thing. It's just another Breath of Fury line. I like it.
Still put her in C, Will.
Yeah.
You wanna go on to Craig Boone?
Yeah, Craig Boone. So Craig Boone, 1 red white for a legendary creature, human soldier with reach, lifelink, 3 power, and 3 toughness. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, put 2 quest counters on Craig Boone, then deal damage equal to the number of quest counters on Craig Boone to up to 1 target creature, unless that creature's controller has Craig Boone deal that much damage to them. Note, he is lifelink and he is doing effect damage. You will be getting a lot of life off Craig Boone. There isn't a lot of ways to abuse it, but yeah, he's a good removal commander theoretically. I will say that he's probably a C, but
Yeah, didn't we just get a better? Didn't Doctor Who give us like a cooler destroy all things? The
the
Doctor
War
of
Doctor,
War, yeah,
yeah,
War Doctor is just like
he scales
way
up a
better.
good deal faster.
Yeah,
And we got the Johnny Planeswalker spoiled from
yeah,
the new set that's going to be coming out in a bit.
that's playable
And
as Commander.
yeah, it's playable as a commander. It costs 2 mana, and it's just like, oh yeah, +0, put make a cat, and if you have a red permanent, punch something for the number of creatures you control.
I'm gonna put Craig C for Craig.
Yeah, he has good keywords and does remove things. I like him
I'm
as a
sorry.
casual.
I'm gonna open up a new poll for Curie here. I'm gonna let you guys vote on this one if you think this belongs in S, A, or B. I wouldn't say
Oh,
it's an S personally, but I'm just curious to see what folks say here. But I could bump it up to A if it's not already an A. But let me know if you guys think that this card deserves to be S, A, or stay where it is, I believe, in B. No, it's in B right now. Okay.
yeah. Well,
Cast as a B, you put random untappers in B. 2 infinites does not make it. 2 infinites does not make it.
well,
Cast?
the thing is with Cass, Breath of Fury is not infinite with Cass because
You're not generating creatures.
yeah, you're just returning auras, and Breath of Fury doesn't return auras. So Cass has 1 infinite that requires you to have a 5 mana aura that you could pay for 2 mana, a token generator, and a sack outlet. It's like the
So,
worst setup that you can have. The thing with the other guys is that they do something beneficial for you in addition to having an infinite outlet. That's the reason why we didn't add the crab, because the crab is not in there because yes, he's an infinite untap outlet, but that is literally it. With the other guys, they have some level of draw or hand fixing.
right. And mind you, even though Red Death is like it is playable as an outlet, there are better commanders to play as outlets or just play in general in Is It. But also, I think Angelus clears up something with Grim Reaper Spirit. It gets attached during combat. It needs to attach during main phase to get an extra combat.
Oh well, with Grim Reaper's Spirit, it's let's see, it's just whenever a creature you control dies. So if the creature survives, you sacrifice it during the next main phase, and then you move it around, and then you do get another combat. So it does work. It does work as an infinite combo, but it just requires you to have a creature generator, a sack outlet, and a Grim Reaper Spirit.
Speaking
It's
of Monster
it is
Hunter
hoops.
3, Modern Horizons 3, I hope the 6-color Eldrazi commander is CEDH viable. Tired of trying to make colorless Eldrazi viable.
Hey,
Yeah.
no, what's Zuladoc? Zuladoc is actually pretty freaking viable.
You think so,
Yeah, don't do
Mateus?
Zuladoc dirty like that.
Mateus thinks that Ajani is a Najila card. Any rate, moving on. Desdemona.
Probably.
Desdemona, Freedom's Edge. Do you care about freedom, Will? Do you care about democracy? Liberty? I'll have
There is no voting here. You are just reanimating stuff over and over and over again.
for Desdemona?
Yeah, so it's Desdemona. 2 red white for a legendary creature, human rogue with vigilance, 3 power, and 4 toughness. Whenever Desdemona attacks, target a creature card near your graveyard that's either an artifact or has 3 CMC or less, and it gains escape. The escape cost is its mana cost plus exile 2 cards from your graveyard.
Ugh.
Good graveyard utility. we brought up another card that does this significantly better, and that would be Ganon. This is still interesting because you can abuse certain things with this to try to win the game. I have a friend with a Rakdos Goblin tribal deck, and the whole thing is that you use a Auntie Wart to recur Goblin from the grave every turn. This does a very similar thing, and I think that you could probably abuse it to use recruiters to find whatever you need and then combo off and win the game. But it is pretty slow, but you're in the colors where you can go a little bit slow, so I don't hate this.
See?
C to like pretty low B, because you can just revive your Archon every single turn and then make people very depressed. It can lock out the game kind of well.
Just kill Desdemona.
Yeah, that is true. I'd say C.
It's vigilant, so it's a blocker. Yeah, Arcade is just so much better.
Yeah.
You're right about that. It's slower, but better.
Yeah.
Moira Brown, guide author. I think I could very easily say that this one's a D, but for generic and Boros 2/3 body, when Moira Brown, guide author, enters the battlefield, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Wasteland Survival Guide with equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each quest counter among permanents you control, and equip 1. Whenever you attack, put a quest counter on target non-land permanent you control.
Can I really quickly just say the art on this card looks like someone just took a screenshot from the game?
It looks pretty crazy. It honestly, those are Vincent eyes right there. Or sorry, not Vincent, but the blue, the guy I like.
Yeah.
Valentine. She basically has his weird cyborg looking eyes. It looks like art from a children's novel, but like one of the crazy looking ones. I have never met Moira Brown in game, so I'm making a lot of assumptions. She could be perfectly lovely, and I'm sorry. I would say that she's a D.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe there's some weird thing you can do where whenever an artifact enters the battlefield, you get a flicker Moira Brown, and then you do infinite something with that.
Again,
but
are we going to say KCI again? Well,
no, we're not.
E-Class some karaoke KCI kind of craziness going on here. We're okay on it.
Well, right. Paladin Elspeth, 1 a red and a white for a legendary creature, Human Knight.
Elizabeth?
Sorry, why did I say Elspeth? Elizabeth.
You're thinking about someone else from this game, man.
So, but yeah, it's 3/2, and then whenever Elizabeth and at least 2 other creatures attack, draw a card, then you may put a creature card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking X is Elizabeth's power. You could probably abuse this in a couple different ways, but this is just cheat in a little bit of mana every turn. It's fine. It's not anything that people are going to be using. I think there's very fun build-arounds for this in casual because you are 100% cheating in an Eldrazi Titan after playing one piece of heavy equipment. So I'd say this is a C.
Yeah. It's card, like, you get card value here. It's you're getting to draw a card. It's cool. Yeah, I think it's C territory. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I certainly like it better than freaking Desdemona. God. At least in a C range, I would want to play Tagarty more.
Yeah.
Sentinel Sarah Alliance, though, Will?
Yeah, 3 red and a white for legendary creature, Human Knight with haste, 4 power, and 4 toughness. As long as an artifact enters the battlefield under your control this turn, creatures you control have +2/+2. Whenever Sentinel Sarah and at least 2 other creatures attack, Sarah deals damage equal to the number of artifacts you control to target player. It doesn't have a lifelink, does anthem up your creatures to some extent. Could do some brutal things in a token deck, but yeah, I think this is maybe a C, because it is if you make any artifact tokens, this can punch very hard while giving all of your artifact tokens +2/+2. So your servos and thopters are kicking people's crap in.
Yeah. So I do want to take a step back to mention a special mention. We should always have a little Najila mention for you, Mateus. But yeah, Tagarty's good in Najila. with all those tokens. It's not bad. He's saying you could cheat in your Derevi or Thassa. Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, you're going to attack with 2 or more creatures, so yeah, that's a fact. As long as you
next we got 3 dog.
Did you wanna, wait? Did we rank lions yet? The other lions. Who's the other lions? Who's our other lions? Was it? Well, there were 2 lions. We've ranked 2 lions. Elder Owen lions. What was the other one?
All right. Oh, well,
sorry.
For Sarah, we can put Sarah as a C. I think Sarah is pretty good and casual with a creature token or like artifact creature tokens.
Yeah, I feel like most Boros legendaries fall into the C range. Sorry, Boros.
Let's see if that trend sticks. 3 dog, 1 red white for a legendary creature human bard with 1 power and 5 toughness because apparently he is thick as fuck. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2 and sacrifice an aura card attached to 3 dog. When you sacrifice an aura this way, for each other attacking creature you control, create a token that's a copy of the aura attached to that creature. So this is Zada, but with auras instead of instants and sorceries.
So bad Zada.
Yes. But
Zada you have a cost.
Yeah, it's a much slower grindier Zada, but you're in white. So you have the colors to make up for that. Honestly, I'm kind of willing to give this a B because there are a lot of auras that say draw for the number of auras on this creature. So you can at one point just go like, I'm going to pay 2, sack this, and then draw 25 cards.
All right, give me your top auras.
Any protection aura for your stacks pieces. He's just rude. He's just kind of rude, and I love it.
Other attacking creature you control, so like they need to commit to attacking, hopefully survive the attack. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2 to sacrifice an aura attached to 3 dogs. Are you allowed to do this more than once? That trigger only goes off once, right? So like you'll get to pick one thing, and this is before they declare defenders, so they've got opportunities.
Yeah, but you're probably picking an aura that's like your creatures have protection from a specific color, and then also draw cards, stuff like that. There's a lot of effects that just say, yeah, my stuff isn't dying, and I draw a card.
Use the Eldraine auras to make tokens of fake tokens.
Make a token of my token of my token of my token.
Like rolls, yeah. I mean,
I'd say this is like a low B, like mid to low B, but a B.
Between this and the new feather, they're testing a Zada-like card, but not getting there. Hear me out. 3 dogs, and either any impetus or the sound of drums.
What is the sound of drums? I don't know that one off the top of my head.
All That Glitters with DJ. Yeah, All That Glitters is 3 dog. I don't know who 3 dog is in the universe, but you're listening to Galaxy News Radio, bringing you truth no matter how bad it hurts. I mean, the fact of the matter is he's going to swing and be fine into any attacker.
Yeah, I also do want to point out, All That Glitters is freaking brutal because I think that counts the number of enchantments that you control, and you're making several new enchantments.
Yes. I don't know how many other All That Glitter effects are there, but that one from Eldraine is pretty tight. You may pay whenever you attack, you may pay 2 and sacrifice an aura touch it. Whenever you sacrifice an aura this way for each attacking creature. All right, well, if you want to put it in the B, I'll put it in the B.
Thank you. I agree that it's worse Zada, but it is still a Zada style effect that's actually worth playing. It's the second best Zada I think we've had in a while.
3 dogs, the second best Zada. 3 dogs isn't quite a goblin, okay, in this universe. If you use rolls, you could play creatures to make rolls. Sort instant enchantment. Yeah, no, you're right. I get what you're saying. If you play creatures that generate rolls.
The thing is, creatures can only have 1 roll at a time.
Right, so they would, like, if it was hero and it turned wicked or whatever, you'd have to switch the role of the character, right? That's unique to that type of aura. They can't be a hero.
Yeah,
I don't remember all the types, but
it's specifically set up because each of them have their own setup in that hierarchy, but it is pretty much like I think one specific role says that it can't be replaced by any of the other roles, then all the other roles have something else. It's weird. It's not perfectly linear. It's something. But going to our next one, Marcus, Mutant Mare. 3 green, blue for a legendary creature, mutant advisor, with 4 power, 4 toughness, vigilance, and trample. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card if that creature had a +1/+1 counter on it. If it doesn't, put a +1/+1 counter on it. 5 mana Edric.
It's 5, yeah, it's 5 mana. And Edric's like symmetrical, and this is not, so...
This also does a light buff, which is kind of nice, so it does speed up the clock a little bit, but you don't really need to speed up the clock in Edric style deck. I think it could be better than Edric just because it's not symmetrical.
I don't know if I like this card. I know what, you know, I know what the Simic loving audience is going to say. Just play Kinnan. And I don't disagree, but you're drawing a card, right? You're drawing a card for every walking ballista that had a dream. I don't know.
I'll say that this at least goes in C because casual players love Simic, casual players love counter synergies.
Yeah, no, I think it's a C for sure. And 7 years ago, did the mayor of that town receive a C? Dogmeat, ever loyal. Our first trip-color commander, and not our last. It's a doggo, of course. 3/3 body. When a Dogmeat enters the battlefield, mill 5 cards, then return an aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever a creature you control that's enchanted or equipped attacks, create a junk token. Junk is really what matters here, and sadly, that is not on ETB. It's just the mill and recovery effect. Is the doggo an outlet? Kind of. Like, you could do food chain and do this, but are there better food chains you should be doing? Probably.
Yeah, there's a very specific dino I can think of. That's a
won
good
every
deal better.
game. Yeah, it's won every game it's ever been in.
100% win rate.
I think that Dogmeat's a D for dog. I hate to say it. Or just, look, you could say... Would you play this in casual?
I would not give a C for Doggo, sadly. But kind of close with the whenever you attack with a enchanter equipped creature, you get a junk to draw later. That's kind of nice, but
we gave Rex a C.
Yeah, but Rex can actually do things.
Damn, do you really feel that way about Dogmeat?
Yeah, sadly, Dogmeat gives pseudo draw, but Rex is just permanent utility, and if you kill Rex, it doesn't matter. You just replay him, and then he does the exact same thing that he did before. Removing Rex doesn't do jack shit. Removing Dogmeat doesn't matter.
Rule is 1 roll per creature. S tier. S is for S meat.
S is for Smeat.
S for Smeat. If you use rolls, you can play creatures to make rolls. Yeah. D for dog. I'm sorry. The doggo gets a D. Okay.
We got Preston next. 2 red, green, white for legendary creature, human soldier. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you create a green or enchantment token named Settlement attached to up to 1 target land you control. It has enchant land, and enchanted land has add 1 mana of any color. Whenever Preston attacks, untap each enchanted permanent you control. This is just kind of worse Jorn. Worse Estrid, worse Jorn. It's on attack instead of just on a ability you can activate whenever you want. Still not horrible though, because if you enchant your lands, you're making a whole lot of mana. The issue is that he isn't an outlet for that mana.
Right, so you put this on your Gaias, you put this on your whatever name land that taps for lots of mana, right? You're less concerned, I guess, about the add 1 mana of any color, though it is fixing. I wish it was a wild growth style effect instead. It just added mana when it was tapped. But man, I'm sorry, dude. I want to give this 9 liter a D as well. I don't like it. It's just so... It's like not even a good... If it was an outlet, sure.
If he was in blue, I would actually probably say this is like A or S. The issue is he's not in blue. If he's in blue, then you could do extra turn shenanigans with that insane amount of mana, or you could do Adric combo stuff. You're not in blue.
Angela says, okay, give dog meat casual. Give him shielded by faith and a sack outlet for slow self-mill clock that gets back Eldrazi conscription. That's kind of cool.
But it's so slow of a clock. And then, because you're milling how many cards? You're milling 5 cards, and you're slowly going to get there. But the thing is, you're turning an aura or equipment, meaning that you're only getting 1 back. So if you mill several, you just feel bad. And you are getting several junk. But the issue is, if you're trying to fill your deck with a bunch of aura and equipment, you're probably not going to have the creatures to attach onto stuff. Or to attach the stuff onto, so
It's
you
a
can't go wide.
Balance, Will.
You gotta delicately balance the Schmeat.
Yeah. You can keep working on convincing us. Caesar Legion's Emperor?
Yeah, 1 red, white, black legendary creature, human soldier with 4 power, 4 toughness. Whenever you attack, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, choose 2. Create 2 1/1 red white soldier tokens with haste that are tapped and attacking. You draw a card and lose a life. Caesar deals damage equal to the number of creature tokens you control to target opponent. Yeah, punch opponent kind of hard, or draw like 2 cards for sacking a creature. Infinitely worse Timna. I don't even think that he's casually viable. Theoretically, you can. I know you can't even choose the same one twice. You have to choose 2 different ones. Never mind, that makes him so much worse.
When you do choose 2, you may sacrifice a Breath of Fury. Do Breath of Fury.
The tokens don't have haste. They just enter tapped. Actually, no, do they have haste?
With haste.
Yeah, they do have haste. Yeah, you could Breath of Fury. I guess Breath of Fury is a thing, and you're in black, so you can find Breath of Fury kind of easily.
Right, and sometimes the issue is, you don't have the 2 to rub together, but still the issue remains, you do need to sacrifice another creature, and it's likely one of those 2 tokens you've made. So if you do the Breath of Fury thing, 1 will live. You need to have the 2 creatures in advance, though, which is weird, so they have more. No matter what, it does combo with that.
Yeah, he'll make you the tokens. You should be fine. So
I still think that
Breath of Fury, I guess I still don't even feel like that's a consistent B.
With extra combats, he makes an infinite army. Yeah, he's an outlet, provided, I guess the thing to look at here and really consider that's important is the fact that he himself doesn't need to be part of this. You could attack with anything. You could attack with a Ragavan, right? And get this opportunity. So I think that's important to note. It's not like it's a slow combo, because as soon as you play him, he's not a 4-cost do nothing. He is a 4-cost do this, provided you played anything else that's on the board. It does rely on you having to sacrifice what is probably some sort of it's like an Esper Sentinel. I'm trying to think of the common creatures you would have played out in advance in a Mardu list. There's the new 5-mana enchantment, right, with Morbid that gives extra combat. Yep.
Yeah, it's 1 extra combat, though. It is an extra combat, but it's just the 1.
He's a hate bear commander that can clear your symmetrical bears to free up your turn.
I mean, yeah, but you clear up your symmetrical bears during combat, meaning that you can't do the setup before you move to combat with your combat-centric commander. So you set up for the rotation after.
Mm.
So he kind of isn't good at breaking stacks.
What does with something like this in Roaming Throne, the trigger happens twice, right?
Yeah, but you'd have to
sacrifice 2 things. Right. But you'll sacrifice 2 red-white soldiers and get 4 red-white soldiers, yeah.
Yeah.
And then draw a lot. Dude, I don't hate it. You could convince me that it could squeeze into the B range, the lower end of the B range for Mardu. Mardu doesn't have great shit to do anyway, so sorry, Mardu.
What Mardu has outside of
partners. Outside of partners.
Outside of okay, I'll agree with you there. The only Mardu commander that I think is viable
Jessica
outside of
Tim,
partners is Dahada, because Dahada has the turbo ring deck.
I am happy to put Caesar in B, the low end of B.
Okay.
If three dog knight can get there, I think Caesar could get there.
Yeah, I think Three Dog is just a little bit better because he's constantly keeping your hand full and giving
Yeah, but
protection to all your stuff.
you
But
don't
like
have to.
Caesar has usability.
Yeah, he's not total trash. I like
But
him.
Dr. Madison Lee, a blue, a red, and a white for a legendary creature. Oh, sorry, no, I skipped over one. My bad. Mr. House, President and CEO.
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
A red, a white, a black for a legendary artifact creature human. Whenever you roll a 4 or greater, or 4 higher, create a 3/3 colorless robot artifact creature token. If you rolled a 6 or higher, instead, create that token and a treasure token. Pay 4, tap, roll a 6-sided die, plus an additional 6-sided die for each treasure, for each mana from treasure spent to activate this ability. 04. Not all too great. This is a very fun casual commander because you can do roll d20 effects, roll d6 or roll d8 effects, d10 effects, and you can get a lot of treasures off of him. But in cEDH, I don't know what you use him for.
Dockside though, there's Dockside.
Yeah, you got to roll all of those dice to turn those treasures into potentially 3/3s that you're probably just sacking to KCI.
Right. He gets a C for CEO.
Yeah, because there are definitely fun things that you can do with die rolling in him.
Yeah.
Dr. Madison Lee, blue, red, white for a legendary creature, human scientist with 2 power, 3 toughness. Whenever you cast an artifact, you gain an energy. That is probably the best way we've had to get energy from all of MTG. You can tap and pay an energy to give target creature you control +1/+0 haste and trample until end of turn. Tap, remove 3 energy, draw a card. Tap, remove 5 energy, return target artifact from your graveyard to their battlefield tapped. That last effect is pretty freaking good because you can use it to recur stacks, you can use it to recur KCI or some combo piece or one of the KCI like recursion things. I think that this is cEDH viable just due to the fact that you can get infinite energy off of it and then recur a key artifact piece.
Well, Underworld Breach is a thing. So it's like, in red. So Jeskai, Underworld Breach. I'm trying to think of, how do you get the infinite energy? Or do you even need infinite energy? Do you just need enough energy?
If you get to 5 energy, you can just tap this, return Agatha's Salt Cauldron after milling your deck and find a win.
Right. I like it. Of all the energy cards that released in this set, I think Dr. Madison Lee was the one that held my attention the longest. I think it's probably the best of that lot. And not bad. It's a value mander with a lot of hoops, though. But, I mean, if you're building this around artifacts, you're going to get the energy pretty quickly. I think that the pay 1 energy to give a thing haste, most importantly there, haste, could be good, honestly. I'm trying to think of what creatures do you care to give the haste to.
I do want to point out as well that all of these effects are instant speed, including cheat the thing into play, tapped. The one thing is you can cheat in a Trinisphere, but it's tapped.
Jamming PO and cEDH.
Yeah, you can. There's a couple different things that you can do that you can cheat in to make people kind of peeved or terrified.
Yeah, it is weird that the Jeskai commander gets trample. It's funny though, because trample is the least important part of that, but yeah, it would make more sense if this was like Nyan, like those past cards we were reading off. I like it. I think it could be.
I'd say B. I like it more than Caesar as the cEDH commander.
Yeah, I would say B as well. Like it could fit into the B range. It's doing something very unique, and if you want to play an energy commander, like this is the one. I think she has alt art as well. There's a very cool like Fallout border version of her. So you've got options.
Yeah.
Paradoxical outcome. I feel like Dr. Lee will do intruder alarm stuff. Yeah, should do some nasty work. Was intruder
Yep,
alarm?
yep.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
All right. Well,
Mind you, Lee doesn't generate tokens, but you could use like an artifact that generates tokens or something and get that going. Sensei's
Liberty Prime. Democracy is non-negotiable.
I'm playing Helldivers 2 right now, so this one really rings true for me. Gonna serve up that
red,
Liberty.
Yeah, my friends have been trying to get me into Helldiver. I have not seen any gameplay or anything of it, but I'll probably check it out and then get into it.
It's cross compatible too. Like my brother's on PlayStation 5 and I'm playing on my Steam Deck and it works on Steam Deck really well. Dude, it's so good. I've only played a little bit, but it's quite good. Not to drag you into it, but at any rate.
I mean, I'm probably going to get dragged into it either way. But a legendary creature, artifact robot with 8 power, 8 toughness, vigilance, trample, and haste. Whenever Liberty Prime attacks or blocks, sacrifice it unless you pay 2 energy. Pay 2, tap it, and sacrifice an artifact. You get 2 energy and you draw a card.
That's right. So,
funny beater.
Funny beater for sure. You need it's rather annoying. You attack, put the trigger on the stack. It's vigilant. So provided you have an artifact to sacrifice, you could pay to tap it, sacrifice that artifact to make the energy necessary to pay for the trigger.
I want to point out, this is a poly-tyrant deck because you can sacrifice itself to its last ability to draw a card. So you could draw infinite cards if you can replay it infinitely from the command zone because it has haste.
But what else is it doing for you?
It draws you the occasional card by sacrificing artifacts. It is not great outside of that.
Would you rather play Kaikar or something? What else is in this territory that is maybe more like? Is there an Ishai Jessica thing you could do instead? Sorry, I do have to weigh it against the other stuff. I think it's such a cool ass looking card, very Pacific Rim looking card, but.
There's a couple other Jeskai commanders that are probably just better than it. This is I have a Jeskai commander deck, actually, the Doctor. So, I think the Doctor is probably a better polymorph deck than this, because you get 2 commanders that actually do things versus one that doesn't really do anything.
Seems like a Voltron-type commander.
Yeah, he is meant to be Voltron commander. You can combo off if you want, though.
Man, I don't... all right, well, where do you want to put him? I'm a metal.
We could put him in B probably, but I'd be fine with throwing him in C.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna take Lee over the Prime, but I mean, I assume that's Liberty Prime behind her, right? Or some version of it. If you look at the art, they're both very patriotic robots in the background. The arms are a little different, but.
Yeah, I'd assume so.
At any rate, Will, you can read this one off. These next two, I think, are
these next
probably
two
the
are
most viable. Sorry.
Yeah, I think this one might be the one S tier from the set, but I could be wrong. We have the Master, not to be confused with the Master from Doctor Who.
Right. I'm just gonna get them all out of the way. All these properties have masters. What's that about?
Yeah, I know. One, a black, a green, and a blue for a legendary artifact creature mutant with 2 power and 4 toughness. When the Master enters the battlefield, target player gets 2 rad counters. Tap. Put target creature card in a graveyard that was milled this turn onto the battlefield under your control. It's a green mutant with base power and toughness 3/3, and it loses all of their colors, all their creature types. So, going back to what I was saying before about mill versus milled, Entomb will let you tutor Razaketh or anything else to your graveyard, and you can tap the Master to reanimate Razaketh. In addition to the fact, this is a food chain commander. In addition to the fact that this could be a poly-tied commander. In addition to the fact that this is an artifact creature, so theoretically you can sacrifice it to find something else. This is just a very, very good commander. He does a little bit of everything, and he actually gives you some level of value because you can put the radiation counters on yourself and then mill a little bit to try to find something to play from graveyard.
Right. Would you I mean, could you end someone by ratting them? That's the food chain bit. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
trying to look
because
up
if you
radiation
give
again.
someone 2 million radiation counters, they take damage equal to the number of non-land cards in their deck.
So a lot.
Yeah, also they mill out completely, but if they have a
You
shuffle
know,
titan, they're still taking like 60.
you know who this wouldn't kill?
Strong or power or whatever his name was.
You're a socialist.
Oh yeah,
Non-land,
true.
right?
What? Yeah, let's
So
go.
Society will not bow to the master.
The funny thing is, I'm still gonna deck out.
Yeah, I love the reanimate ability. You don't have to put a depletion counter on it.
Yep. Also, Hermit Druid. I keep forgetting Hermit Druid is
So
still.
Hermit
Druid does
is
not mill, but it does. The cards put into the graveyard are milled. It is such a confusing ruling. Wizards has not come forward and said like, yeah, that's 100% the way that it works. But the way that they phrased milled specifically just says a card is milled if it was put from the library into the graveyard and it hasn't moved zones since then.
and not the top of your library.
Not the
Anywhere
top.
from the library into the graveyard. Okay.
It just said if the card is put into the graveyard from the library. It's very confusing. But
I'm gonna go close out this poll. Something crazy occurred. With 11 votes, it's 36 to 36. Curie is either S tier or A tier. And I'm gonna just err on the side of caution and say that it's A.
yeah, because we put weight on it for the B tier people.
Right. But more importantly, where does the master fall for you? Is this one of the better Abzan?
I think the master is potentially S tier because he actually does something when he enters play and gives you a little bit of value, but also has so many combos in addition to just food chain stuff. He has a 1-card combo with Entomb. He has a 1-card combo with Hermit Druid. He just does everything that you want.
Mind you, he doesn't need to be out a turn prior. He's not hasty.
Yeah.
Are there better things to do in this color? Master with Hoarding Broodlord combo. Yeah, you could do you could also just run Unmarked Grave.
Yeah.
Although the power and toughness do change to 3/3, mind you. So if you do Hoarding Broodlord, wouldn't that mess it up?
No, for Hoarding Broodlord, he only cares about power for the Saw in Half stat line. But
your sacrifice.
cares about CMC.
Is it CMC? Oh, okay. Never mind then. Yeah, I'm sorry. For some reason, I was thinking it was attack power there. S tier for sure. Does it combo with Entomb since you're not milling? Yeah, so, Josh, that's what we were covering a second ago. Apparently, so far as milled is concerned, the text that is specifically on this card, provided it went from your library to the graveyard, by any means, it is considered milled. So,
yeah. If a card is put into the graveyard from the library, it is considered milled. It does not care that it came from the top. It does not care if it came from the bottom. It doesn't care if it came from the dead center. As long as it knows it came from the library, that is all that it checks to be considered milled. So therefore, it does work. I know it's really confusing because mill is the action of putting cards from the top of the library into the graveyard, so you would think. But it doesn't seem to work that way.
I'm really between S and A here, so I'll leave it to you. And it's really both of these last two are very good.
Yeah. I think the master is probably S tier, and we can go A tier with the next one.
You think that the master is readily cEDH playable?
Yeah, because he has accessibility to 2 1-card combos that use cards that people are already fine with running and have been trying to get to work, in addition to the fact that he has a bunch of backup lines and extra combos, in addition to the fact that he has a little bit of value anyways. If anybody mills a card anywhere, you instant speed just go yoink to get something out of it, which there's a lot of decks that will accidentally mill things.
Yeah.
And it's really funny, because if that Breach deck tries to Brain Freeze, you go, oh, nice Thoracle.
Yeah. Yeah, unless they attempt to cast that immediately.
Yeah, but if they have brainstorms on the stack, you just
You're
cast
like,
it. You steal it with brainstorms on the stack.
right. You're like, how many copies of that do you have? Let me sneak in here really quick. I think that this list would even care for, if I'm being honest, I think it would care for like Lightning Greaves as well. Like I would want to just protect him. He doesn't, this is the period of Ward, but he did miss the evasion. So for both commanders, Cephalid and Illusionist works really well. And Mesmeric Orb and Altar of Dementia would be good here. Oh yeah, they would be.
Yep.
Do we move on though to our next?
The last two, starting with the Wise Mothman, 1 green, 1 black, 1 blue, and 1 for a legendary creature, insect mutant with flying, 3 power, 3 toughness. When Mothman enters the battlefield or attacks, each player gets a rad counter. And then, whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of non-land cards milled this way. Mothman gets really big really fast and has a food chain line because he gives everybody infinite rad counters in addition to Hull Breacher, Tide Spout lines, in addition to all the other things the Master had outside of the milled lines.
So we're getting S tier for Moth.
I think Mothman is A tier only because of the fact that he is an outlet for a bunch of different things, and that's primarily it, but can also beat people down. So
Best in show food chain. I think Transcendent. I think the Master is a little bit better at food chain. They're both good. I'm sorry, not to cut you off. I think that this is fine. So it's like it's just both of these things are missing aspects of cEDH commanders that I really enjoy, but which is a card advantage, or something that gives you like value that is applicable every turn, or outside of being an outlet, or outside of being an A plus B plus C part of a combo line, or outside of easing a combo line. It's just missing like real value draws for me. I don't consider the rad aspect a value component, because mill is just useful for opposing breach list. And you're not in red, right? So you're only helping them. That's why I kind of feel like they're both A's in my mind. That's why I was having an issue with the Master. I'm happy to agree with you guys, though, on the Master. I think that's where, like, Lazov, like, you're right, Mateus. I think that he definitely could have slotted in S because he does have that magical card advantage attached to a very cool reanimator strategy. Even with the addition of green here, I don't know. I've never been one to care much for the power of the 99, but we've seen, obviously, we keep bringing up Kinnan these days. He's good, and he doesn't have the card advantage. But he does have that value I was talking about, though. Like, just a shit ton of mana is good. A shit ton of mana is really good. Who would have known? Like, just keep a good hand, have mana. But, like, you look at Moth and you look at Master, they're both 4 cost. They're both hard cast with the pips. Like, if you put them down, are you getting anything valuable when you put this down?
I forgot to bring up the other 1 mana card combo, or the 1 card combos with the Master. Any top deck tutor.
Yeah, but like in my mind, they sort of venture into the same range of like, if I'm going to use this as just an outlet in this, at least in the instance of Mothman, if I'm going to use this as just an outlet, shouldn't I just use the first sliver as just an outlet? Or shouldn't I just use some 5-color commander as just an outlet instead? Or isn't Kenrith just better as a value commander that is also an outlet? It's sorry. And we can always go like, you can always just be like, well, if you feel that way, why don't you just play a blue farm? And it's like, yeah, probably right. Maybe I should.
The thing is, the Mastermind he kind of outclasses all of the commanders that you just listed. The only commander in Wooburg that I think actually outclasses the Master is Najeela, because Najeela has competing 1-card combos with the Master, but the Master just goes, oh, I drew one of my 8 cards that just say win the game. I'll try to win the game. Najeela is the exact same way. The thing with Najeela is that you have a bunch of extra utility in the fact that you just make a massive board. But the Master also just says, oh, somebody milled a card. Cool, free thing.
I think the Master's better than Mothman, and I think that Mothman is like you were saying, Will. I think Mothman fits into A.
Yeah.
Mothman mills. If you're targeting Illusionist with Mothman, you can mill your deck and win with Thoracle. If you're targeting Illusionist with Mothman.
Okay, so Mothman says
Cephalid
whenever
Illusionist?
one or more non-land cards are milled, put a +1/+1 counter on each of X target creatures, where X is the number of non-land cards milled this way. Cephalid Illusionist says whenever it's targeted with a spell or ability, you mill 3 cards. So you mill 3 cards, oh look, a non-land card, put a counter on Illusionist, oh look, 3 cards. As long as you don't hit 3 lands in a row, you will mill your entire deck with Illusionist. Which is, it's a combo. I think the Master is a little bit more consistent. But that's a 1-card combo for Mothman, and I don't hate it. You just do like a Narcomoeba or something, then you sacrifice Illusionist, Mothman, Narcomoeba to Dread Return Thoracle and win the game.
Mothman at A for now. You can convince me otherwise.
Mothman could be an S, but yeah, I'll stick with Mothman being an A.
But this is the real S.
Yeah, Eddie, Lonesome Eyebot. Legendary creature, artifact, robot for 3 mana, 2 power, 1 toughness, and flying. Whenever you attack, if the number of attacking creatures is greater than the number of quest counters on Eddie, put a quest counter on it. You can pay 2 mana and sacrifice Eddie and draw a card, then draw an additional card for each quest counter on Eddie. Let's go. Colorless card draw commander. We haven't seen that since the Kozilek, except he's 3 mana, so he's infinitely better. He's also an infinite mana outlet in the command zone. OP Eddie.
How many infinite mana combos do you know in Colorless?
We got Metalworker stuff and we got KCI stuff, and that's it. And there's probably some shenanigans with like Pilipala and other things that you can still get to work in Colorless, but Oh yeah, Agatha's Soul Cauldron, Pilipala, and like something that taps for a chunk of mana.
Where does this rank so far as Colorless Commanders are concerned? It's not bad.
I think the best Colorless is Zuladok. The second best is the draw back up to 7 Kozilek, and I think this might be the third out of all of those. Maybe Hope of Gearper is better, but I think it's
rings, baby.
Honestly
Basalt rings.
Yeah.
Basalt rings.
I do also want to point out the amount of draw off of this card just in one go is not something to scoff at, because it will at minimum draw you or it'll at least try to draw you like 2 cards when you sacrifice it. So that's still not horrible. Is it great? No. But it's not horrible.
Yeah, just add those ginger brutes, man. Make sure you're attacking with more creatures than you have quest counters, okay?
I will say that I brought this up. This card is very nice for Tushar, because you can attack with this and Tushar to give it a second quest counter, or to give it a quest counter on it. Yeah. And then it will be able to draw you 2 cards, cast something, bring it back, and keep going. So it draws you 2 cards per turn in Tushar.
It's also an infinite mana outlet in Tushar, mind you, because once you have the mana requisite, you could just recur this and draw your deck, regardless of quest counters. So it's not a bad idea in Tushar at all. It's a good value creature there. You always need draw in white, even with the 1 ring these days. It looks like Bowmaster. It looks at Bowmaster and dies. Look, if someone plays Orcish Bowmaster into your colorless list and picks Eddie as the first target, they're not a real friend. I'm sorry. That's rude.
Ellie's gonna get polymorphed from the Lonesome Eyeball until Solemn Simulacrum right there. He's the saddest of robots.
All right, guys, we're gonna close this one out by putting him
S tier. Eddie's S. Let's go.
Dude, D.
I'd say D. I'd say C. You can do some fun stuff with probably Proliferate and Eddie.
But Hand of Justice combos with Gift of Immortality with a sack outlet, Goblin Bombardment, also pre-war formal wear, works well with here in Leonin Relic order. Yeah, Joshua, we're only ranking the legendaries from the set. We have actually not covered the set in totality, but that is something we could do. We have
Also,
not set up tomorrow's stream. We could technically do a set review if we really wanted to, but
yeah, I also think Patrick very much likes the pre-war formal where it's pretty good at you activating Oswald and reviving Oswald if he gets killed in response to the activation.
we're going to download this image, folks. So that's it for the tier list today. This is our official tier list. It's going to go into the community post tab over here on YouTube. I could share it as well on the Discord if you happen to be a member of our Discord. But if you want to ask us any questions, feel free to in the comments section after this video on this list. But it's official. That's where it stands. We have one S tier legendary from this set, and it's rare that we get any. So good job, the master. How do you feel? You think we're accurate, more accurate this time, Mateus? More accurate audience than before? Where are you getting your ruling that mill means as long as it came from the library and not from the top, says Angelus.
I will pull that up really quick because I found it on the mill ruling. I want to pull that to the side really quick.
Yeah, the set's really got me excited. I'm not going to lie. I love seeing this many legendaries too. Like, it's always fun to just, I mean, I'm not even done. Honestly, I'm not even done with the legendaries I wanted to cover from Murders at Karlov Manor. And there's already a ton of legendaries here that I would really love to explore. I think Curie is probably the most interesting one because Mono Blue provides us some interesting limitations. I think the Master would probably be the easiest to set up. And I think Arcade is probably my second favorite. That's a lie. Yes, man. I really do. I want to make Yes, man a thing. But so, if you found it.
Yeah, so I did find it. So also the one thing that Angela said, because the reminder text of mill says to mill a card is to put it from the top of your library into your graveyard. That is correct, but the difference between the action of mill versus a card being put into the graveyard from library, because milled is referring to a card being put into the graveyard from library, but the ruling is Rule 701.13c. An effect that refers to a milled card can find that card in the zone it was moved to from the library as long as that card is still in a public zone.
What was that?
Sorry, as long as that zone is a public zone. So as long as the card is not flipped face down or hidden information in any way, shape, or form. So the effect refers to a milled card that was put into the graveyard from the library.
And what was the comprehensive rule again?
That is Rule 701.13c.
701.13c. I'm just putting this in the chat for future audiences. You can actually look at the live commentary from this video. So if you want to look that up yourself as well, I believe this is from the comprehensive rules. Otherwise, it wouldn't be up in the 700s. Trust me. Yeah. Normal quick start guides don't go to 700. You usually stop well before that. But at any rate, that should cover that, and you can correct us if we happen to be wrong. Like if you happen to be a rules magic judge. I think you discussed it with someone in our Discord though, and came upon this fact.
Yeah, so I found this ruling, and it only refers to the fact that the card was put into the graveyard from the library. It does not care that it was milled. It just cares that it was put into the graveyard from the library, as far as the rules have said. People have been asking for a more clear ruling on this. We haven't gotten anything, so I'm going to assume that this is the proper ruling. Because This is what every source that I found has said. Yes, it does not care that the card was put in there by mill effect. It just cares that the card was put into the library from the graveyard. So mill and milled are completely unrelated, other than the fact that they care about cards from the library going into the graveyard. It's weird.
Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, I'll highly encourage you to leave it with a like at this point. If you happen to hang out for the total of these 3 hours, I know our streams usually go long, but there's always a lot to cover when it comes to TCGs. And if you like discussing strategy or the latest sets releasing, I highly encourage you to subscribe. We're going to be covering a lot more content on this channel, and it's probably going to come by way of stream for the most part. For most content, but you can expect to see shorts of some of the best sound bites from these videos here too. So if you're subscribed, you'll get those as well. But soon, maybe I I've been playing a lot of the demo of Star Wars Unlimited online, and that might be something new we talk about here because it's a really fun new TCG, 50 card constructed is the general format for the main format. Leader base, so it's kind of like Commander, but it's 1v1. There is a 4-person format, but I'm not going to touch on that. But it's a 2-lane style game where you're actually playing. You have two battlefields. I'm going to stop there, but I want to jump into it in the future because I really enjoyed playtesting it. I'm getting to do an event this weekend, and if it's fun, you can expect us to cover that too. So, One Piece, Magic, Sorcery, I promise. And if you didn't hear in the very beginning of this video, I'm actually going to be co-hosting the March of the Mortals event in Texas in 2 weeks' time, as a matter of fact. So, if you're there in Texas at Reaper Game Store, holler. I'm going to bring a sorcery deck. I'm not going to bring anything else for that day. But if you're there and you want to play, let me know after the event is done. Will, any closing thoughts on your end?
If you want to pick up any of these cards that we talked about today, go to our TCG Player affiliate link and let them know that we guided you there.
Yeah, I should really put that on the screen, like as a QR or something. I'm really failing us. But hey, you know what? There's links too, and it should be visible just by looking at the description. You shouldn't have to click the more, so do that. It would really help. But guys, hope you enjoyed this stream. Honestly, I love doing these. Streams are really the best way to communicate my thoughts on these games, and I just want to do more of them going into the future. So you should expect these weekly. It's weird. On a side note, I'm going to be working. I've been doing a lot of freelance work recently, and it's still considered freelance, but I will be working what is akin to a regular 9-to-5, doing some videography for a group. So my days are going to be very, very much occupied now. So it really will be, unless I have time on the weekends to film, mostly live streamed stuff here on the channel, which I like. So again, if you enjoy these equally, I do encourage you to like them because I want to push them out to as many people as possible. At any rate, that's it. I'm going to watch Traders with my wife now. Just came on this show. Ellen Cumming is the host. He really does make it special, Will, but it's like the goofiest reality show you've ever seen. We started watching it when we were spending time with Allie's family, and we somehow got addicted to it. So I'm excited to see who got murdered last night. No. Holy crap, that's milled ruling. Crazy weird. Yeah, apparently. I know. Ezio is the new 5-color good stuff cEDH commander. Yeah, fuck Najila. Mateus, well, oh god, do we talk about that? No, we'll talk about it later. Are you excited though for Ezio Editori?
It is so pointless as a Wooburg commander. It's so pointless as a Luris commander.
We got two Ezios.
Yeah, we got two. We got the straight Demir one, and then we have the Wooburg Luris one, and you can pay Wooburg to give him functionally +7/+0 for the combat.
I just want to know if there's any cool assassins to fool with.
Not as far as I know.
I haven't looked into it at all. So, at any rate, ciao. I'll get you in the back with a knife. That's not true. I'm not gonna do that to you. You're safe. Helldivers 2. After when the wife goes to bed, that's when the boys play. I'm gonna be playing some Helldivers 2 later, man. Excited for it.